We begin this broadcast by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which this match will be played today and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening.
Anzac Day 2026. A day to reflect and remember all those who have served.
I'm very proud of the 40th Battalion. I swear I've never seen a better one. Never a defeat, never pushed back. You can't beat a record like that, you know.
A day to thank those who continue to serve.
I love going on deployment and I love what I do, but I really, really love coming home. When I think about Anzac Day, I think about the fact that there is a very good reason that we don't celebrate, we commemorate it. And the reason for that is that, frankly speaking, war is hell.
A day to celebrate the Anzac spirit of courage.
I felt it a duty that everyone to go to the war.
Of mateship.
It's quite emotional, really, reflecting on a lot of the friendships, definitely a sense of camaraderie, really a sense of pride in knowing that you've sort of contributed to something greater and more meaningful than necessarily just yourself.
And of sacrifice.
On this day, we recall those who did not return with us to receive the welcome of their nations. One thing that I'll never forget, people were watching the march, and our lady handed me a sprig of rosemary for remembrance, and I've always grown a rosemary bush since.
It's a day to be grateful for the small things, including cheering on your favourite footy team. Welcome to Anzac Day Footy with ABC Sport.
On a day that is much bigger than football, it is a game that never disappoints.
Live from York Park, Anzac Day Footy. Hawthorn versus Gold Coast.
Spills to the Wizard. The Waverley Wizards on the board. Watson goals.
Two clubs that have turned themselves into glamour teams of the continent.
Jack Gitterman comes in to give the Hawks the lead. All eyes on me.
And pass towards Petrarca. Oh, the rebrand is going well.
Both with September glory on their minds.
Jack Gunston comes in and delivers again. He is built for the big stage.
Hawthorn versus Gold Coast, live from York Park.
Humphrey emerges with it, kicks around the body. That is incredible. What a goal.
You're listening to Anzac Day Footy on ABC Local Radio, Sport Digital and on ABC Listen.
Yes, Anzac Day is a time of remembrance, of solemn gratitude and reflection. It's also a day for the Indigenous sport of this nation. Australian rules football, the MCG, will host the blockbuster between Collingwood and Essendon a little later today. But first, a fixture that promises plenty and serves as a more than tasty appetiser. Hawthorn and the Gold Coast Suns from York Park in Launceston, two genuine contenders in season 2026 who find themselves both in the top four after 6 games. The Suns have never beaten Hawthorn in Launceston, but they have won their last 3 against them elsewhere. It all lines up in Lonnie. Hawks and Suns, Saturday footy for ABC Sport. Chris Rowbottom is my name, with you on the play-by-play this afternoon, alongside me for the first time this season, Michael Maney. A big welcome to you.
Thanks, Chris. Good afternoon to everyone, whoever's listening. It's beautiful here. We can see all the renovations being done at York Park, just a multi-million dollar renos for the Tassie Devils to come in too, I guess. But the Gold Coast Suns have always proved to be a prickly customer for the Hawks, and they don't have the greatest of records, but as you said, they've never lost to them at this ground. So it'll be interesting. Hawthorn's 25th year in Launceston, celebrated by the club, and spoke to David Cox, who Chief of Operations in Tasmania, and David's really thrilled with what they've been able to do and what is to come. Another year for the Hawks. We will extend to beyond that, but. It's the Hawks' last loss was against Adelaide here, going back in about 2023. So the Hawks get it done in Lonnie.
They certainly do. It's a fortress, and that is another battle that is taking shape between Hawthorn and the Tasmania Football Club over the rights to the state, I suppose, in years to come, and that's going to be one that's going to interest us as the years roll on. The first of our experts for this afternoon's clash, 118 games across both the Sydney Swans and the West Coast Eagles. Callum Sinclair, a big Tasmanian, welcome to you.
Thank you very much. Very excited to be here. The last time I was in Launceston was actually during the COVID years.
Yeah.
And we were bussed from a motel and into a caged environment just downstairs. I kid you not, it was a caged environment outside of the change rooms, and the police officers were throwing over like just supplies and bottles of water for us, and no air conditioning, no heating, so we're all in blankets pre-game before we tackled the GWS. Anyway, so I'm scarred, but I'm moving on. Happy to be here. But no, I'm very excited. So I haven't actually called Hawthorn or the Gold Coast Suns this year, but tell you what, I'm liking the Gold Coast Suns midfield at the moment. Witts, Anderson, Rao, Took Miller's running around in there, but I think the story is obviously Jamara Ugle-Hagan playing his first game for the Suns today. So excited to see how they go, particularly with James Sicily and Moore on the sidelines at the moment. They've got their work cut out for them.
Yeah, and we're going to rip right into that in just a moment's time. But first, returning to the ABC commentary box for the first time in a long time, 279 games with the Richmond Footy Club, 67 games as coach of Essendon, and now academy coach for the Devils, based right here in Tassie, Matthew Knights. A big ABC welcome back to you, Nighter.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, it's been. I was up here earlier in the week, actually. We had an academy camp up here in Launceston, just next door at the university, and some under 13, 14, 15 games in both male and female, and the club had the board meeting up here early in the week. So yeah, there's been a bit of action here early in the week. Exciting day today with two teams from an aspirational point of view looking at top four. There's no question about that. Hawthorn have been in mint form, and I think their victory against Geelong a fortnight ago, it was the form line will probably stand up with that one. I think the Gold Coast are a little bit indifferent in the last couple of weeks, but amazing day for footy, and we're going to be blessed to see a high-level game.
So many storylines woven through this matchup, including the form of both of these teams, but Cal mentioned it off the top. It's the return of Jamara Ugle-Hagan that's, I suppose, the feel-good or headline act out of today's match. 596 days since his last game, and particularly pertinent against the backdrop of the mental health conversation we've been having across the past week. He's been named today, and it is great to see the young man back, fit, firing and ready to play footy. Cal Sinclair.
It certainly is, and I think everyone was really disappointed for, I guess, wouldn't matter what side of the fence you sat on over the last 12 months with Jamara. I think we all just know he's got a tremendous amount of talent. Let's be honest, a lot of clubs didn't want to go near him, and Damien Hardwick, I guess, put his head out and made him earn his spot. He's had to play a fair bit of reserves football, and he had a knee issue over the summer which he had to get cleaned up after surgery, so he's had to work for it. It'll just be I think with Jamara, all they want is, I guess, him to compete, but also just some consistency with him on and off the field. You feel like he has matured a little bit being up there with Gold Coast. It is a genuine second chance for him, so I'm sure he'll take it with both hands. But it's not a question with talent with Jamara. We all know he can get a kick. He impacts the game very well. He's done that at AFL level many times. You're not drafted number one pick if you're a slouch. So very exciting to see him. But I hope it really propels him for a great second chance of his career.
Nida, what's a fair expectation for Jamara Ugle-Hagan this afternoon? What should we reasonably expect from the young man against Hawthorn today in Launceston?
Yeah, well, if I was putting myself into the shoes of the Gold Coast coaching box, with the 200 centimetre plus of Reid and King in the front half, I think Ugle-Hagan really is going to be an up and down player, so he's going to have to fly in the air, but he's going to have to get some work done at ground level as well, because with the other two big lads up there, we need him to play that quasi forward role. So they'll be judging his game on, if he can come away with a couple of goals, 10 or 12 contested possessions, 4 or 5 tackles, I think they'd be pretty happy with that. So I don't think we're not looking at a major goal kicker here. We're looking at a role player that can play alongside Reid and King and really complement that front half.
Fresh off 5 goals in the VFL, of course, so they have made him earn it, and he's in today. The 5th member of our commentary team this afternoon is Andrew Cooling. He's already been hard at work down on the boundary. He caught up with Gold Coast Suns assistant forward line coach Brad Miller a short time ago.
Brad, thanks for having a talk with us on ABC Sport. 4-2 as you head into this game. How have you assessed the start to the season for the Suns?
Yeah, it's a good start in the wins-loss column. We still haven't played our best footy yet, which is still early in the season, but we're happy with the results.
You play Hawthorn today, one of the form teams of the competition. What do you have to get right to get the better of them this afternoon?
Plenty. They're going really well. No, it's their in-ring pressure around the contest and stoppage is hard to stop, so they're really tough on the inside, but then the damage that they can cause on the outside. So you have to have a really balanced game. We have to be tough enough to match them on the inside, but then slow them down and play our way on the outside as well.
You've had a few injuries to start the season. Now, first look at probably your big midfield three altogether. How exciting is that for you as a team?
Yeah, it is. Noah coming back. He only missed a week with his appendix, which is it's a great effort to get back after a week, but they've slowly been building. We saw some signs last week, and we're trying to get them to play their best footy, so we're looking forward to seeing that all together.
Our first look at Jamara as a son today. What does he bring to the group?
Yeah, energy, a lot of craft. He's experienced. He's played some good footy. It's been a big journey for him to get back to where he is today. So we're excited just to see him play. He's going to be, a fair way off his absolute best because he's missed so much footy, 596 days. So it's a long way between games, but we're just excited to have him out there and see what he can produce.
It has been quite the journey for him to get back. What's the reintegration into the group looked like, particularly working with him as the forward line coach?
Yeah, well, it's just about being a good teammate first and foremost. So once you come into a new club, he's got to establish relationships with that core group, and I feel like he's done that. He's worked really hard off the field to establish those relationships. So not only his game on the field he's worked hard at, it's his stuff off the field that's been really impressive. So yeah, he's made an impact on the group, and hopefully he gets a good performance out there today and shows the boys what he's capable of.
Where are we likely to see him? Is he going to be pushing up outside 50 or sitting deep inside 50? What's the plan for him?
No, we get our forwards up high, so yeah, he won't be anchored to the goal square. We expect him to get up and then work back, so yeah, it'll be a mix.
Plenty of options in that forward line. Is it fair to say he's still searching for what the best mix is in that forward group?
Well, it's our youngest line, so yeah, the short answer to that is yes. Leo Lombard's only played a handful of games, Jake Rogers as well, so it's what the best mix can be week to week, but at the moment we're still trying to figure that out. Reedy's gone up to the wing, so he started to establish himself as a key forward. Can still go back there. We've got the flexibility to pull that lever if we need to, but yeah, it's just about seeing who gels best together.
You lead the league in scoring from forward half intercepts. What's the role of your forward line within that? What are the keys that you need your players doing that's generated so much success in that area of the game for you?
Well, it's clearly pressure. So all of them have speed, and so if they're putting pressure on, they force that dump kick to come out, and our backs can be proactive and position up to mark and intercept that ball. So pressure's first and foremost. It's a big part of our identity as a forwards group.
Thank you for having a talk with us, Brad.
Cheers, no worries.
Thanks.
Brad Miller there, Gold Coast Suns assistant forward line coach, chatting with Andrew Cooling down on the boundary a short time ago. So the Suns 4-2 on the season, 2 changes to the team that beat Essendon by 9 points last week. Jamara is one inclusion, the other is Noah Anderson, the gun midfielder, off the back of having his appendix out. Joel Jeffrey and Charlie Ballard are the omissions. Cal, the team balance here, 2 defenders out of this Suns lineup for a star midfielder and a forward. Thoughts on the selection process there?
Yeah, look, it's, I've never been one to comment on selection. A lot of people out there are smart enough than myself to make those calls. But no, you are right. It's a factor. One thing about Noah Anderson that I've really enjoyed is when they put him in as captain, he's actually doing it sort of his way. I really thought that was a really good decision by the Gold Coast Suns to actually make him captain. I found Took Miller probably didn't like that decision, but I think Noah Anderson back into that midfield mix. They have struggled the last few weeks, particularly with Witts, who's winning a lot of the ball by hand, but to actually take that advantage away from the opposition, I think Noah Anderson's inclusion will be terrific.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Had the appendix out, so fresh off surgery, only missed the one game. I've had my appendix out before, and there's no way I'm doing anything 12 days later, let alone play a game of AFL footy. But Noah Anderson's built a little bit differently than I am, it's fair to say. Hawthorn have swung 5 changes for today's fixture despite beating Port Adelaide and currently enjoying a 5-game winning streak. James Sicily and Dylan Moore, as we heard, both copping suspensions. They'll miss today's game. Sam Butler and Flynn Perez have been managed, and first gamer Will McCabe has been omitted. Andrew Cooling, he was able to speak to Hawks midfield coach David McKay a short time ago as well. He asked him about the inclusions, including that of Finn McGuinness, who may be poised for a specialist role today.
Well, thanks for having a word for us on pre-game ABC. David, you entered this game off the back of 5 straight victories. You're rolling along nicely. What's your assessment of the season to date?
Yeah, we've been pretty pleased. Obviously, we've won 5 games in a row, but throughout that block of games, we've played some really good footy. We've also had some patches where we've had games and moments in games where we'd like to be a bit better. So I guess bank some good results has been important for us, but we still feel like there's a lot of growth in our game, which we're trying to get after today.
There was a lot of talk after the first few weeks about how different the game was looking. Do you think that still holds up now we've got a slightly larger sample size? Does it still feel like footy is different, or has it gone back to how it's been in previous years, do you think?
Oh, look, it probably has changed a little bit in terms of, the scoring seems to be up, and, it seems a little bit harder to defend. The ground teams are moving the ball pretty well, so I suppose we'll need to look at probably the next block of 6 games and see where it sits sort of mid-year, but it certainly changes every year, and I think offense at the moment seems to be have a little bit more importance, and obviously counteract that, being able to defend it, I think is going to be important going through the rest of the season.
It's been talked about a lot how you've kind of zigged where others have zagged, playing the 2 specialist ruckmen. What about that is it that you particularly like as a midfield coach?
Oh, look, I suppose it starts a little bit with your personnel in your squad, and Lloyd and Ned, we feel are really established AFL rucks who over pre-season have been competing really hard against each other, make each other better, and I guess we look at it as an opportunity to get 2 quality rucks into the team, and provides good balance for our team and helps our midfield, and at the moment it's something that's working quite well for us. We like to keep exploring what the options are, but those guys are playing good footy, which is a bonus for us there.
You obviously work very closely with the engine room. Do you think your midfield group gets a little bit underrated perhaps by the wider football media and they don't quite get the credit they deserve?
I think we talk a lot about the collective product that we put out there, and we think we've got a lot of depth. We think we've got a lot of different weapons in there that complement each other really well. So I'd say probably the thing that's been most pleasing as a midfield coach this year has been the weighted numbers and the spread of the load. And I think we've obviously seen Jai and Connor Nash and these guys play consistently really well, and then the younger crew coming through who have really improved their game as well. So I think overall just the spreading the load's been the thing that's been really pleasing for us.
5 changes to the side today. How disruptive is that, and how do you go about managing, I suppose, such a large amount of ins and outs on a week to week?
Oh, look, we understand, we've got a couple of forced changes this week, which, with James and Dylan, but, we feel like this part of the year we obviously condensed fixture a bit, and as I said, we've got really good depth in our squad, so we're really confident we bring guys in today who are in really good form in the VFL, give us some experience and running power. So, we're really happy with, what we're able to call on at the moment, and that's going to be important to have that squad mentality over the coming weeks.
A pretty formidable midfield you go up against today in the form of the Suns. First time we'll see Anderson, Petrarca and Rao together. How do you go game planning against them, and do you plan to tag any of them? How do you go about stopping, I suppose, the weaponry they've got in there?
Yeah, well, obviously they've got a lot of quality in there, and we certainly respect what they're able to do, and I suppose not going away from what we're going after in terms of that collective effort to get the job done, and that's something that we've talked about all year, and it's going to be really important today to obviously quell some of their threats. Obviously a lot of quality in there, and at times we're going to have to be aware of all of them, so we'll do our best as a group to nullify what they can do and put on show what we can do.
Lovely, thanks for your time, good luck today.
Thank you.
Andrew Cooling down on the boundary with Hawthorn midfield coach David McKay. It is Anzac Day footy from York Park here in Launceston. It is Hawthorn and the Gold Coast Suns not too far away from getting underway. We might head downstairs where both teams are lined up shoulder to shoulder for some Anzac Day commemoration.
They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. lest we forget.
Please welcome able seaman Laura Broomhall to sing the Australian National Anthem.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes our Anzac Day ceremony.
Yeah, always enough to get the hairs on the back of the neck standing up, and a beautiful rendition of the national anthem and the last post as well. Nida, as former coach of Essendon a number of years ago now, you would have had a special connection with Anzac Day through, I guess, the footballing lens as well. You'd have some memories there too of the occasion and what it meant to, I guess, the football clubs and the players.
Amazing fixture and amazing day to be involved in football, and obviously part of Australian history at such a high level. And some fond memories, particularly David Zaharakis kicking a goal on Anzac Day. I certainly remember that one vividly from 80 or 90 metres away, seeing that sail through. But just to coach and be part of a day, 90 or 100,000 people, was something that was really special, and something I'll always remember as head coach of Essendon.
Did you employ anything sort of pre-game or in the lead up to the game that invoked the day and what it meant, and tried to add a little bit of extra meaning to the game?
Yeah, I think we had quite a big build-up, and even my time at Geelong, we would take the young players to the Anzac Day service, and even as a coach, I went along to the dawn service. So, yeah, it was quite a big build-up, particularly at Essendon, with the Anzac Day game, and obviously such a great history between those two teams, and fought out many great victories, I suppose. And, just to play on this day, I'm sure for these players out here today, they'd feel a sense of responsibility and very proud to be playing on a day like today.
The voice of Matthew Knight's part of our ABC Sport commentary team for today's clash in Launceston. Anzac Day footy, Hawthorn and the Gold Coast Suns. Chris Rowbottom with you on the play-by-play. Michael Maney alongside me. Cal Sinclair in the box as well. Might be a good time to introduce the fifth member of our commentary team. You've heard from him previously. He's been hard at work interviewing a couple of the assistants from the Suns and the Hawks, but we might go downstairs to Andrew Cooling, who's stationed on the boundary at a York Park that is currently under construction. Drew, welcome to you.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Definitely a different setup here at the ground. Most of the seats here are pretty filled, but there are a lot less of them, with an entire half of a grandstand missing, and then the far side of the ground, it's just kind of an empty shell of what used to be a grandstand as we undergo the construction for the Devils. But packed in where there are seats available, that's for sure, and really could not have got a better day for football than this. 21 degrees, barely a cloud in the sky, no wind to speak of, and the grass down here just looks like carpet. It is absolutely immaculate, so it could not get better conditions for this one.
It certainly presents beautifully. immaculate conditions, as you mentioned. Andrew, cooling 21 degrees, blue skies here in Launceston, not much of a breath of wind to speak of. We've just had the toss. The Suns have won the toss and will kick to the city end of the ground, or the right of your radio dial. Cal, I was intrigued by the selection of Finn McGuinness, and I'm not too sure what his role in the team is, but he dominates at VFL level, 30 touches and 10 clearances and whatnot, and then tags at AFL level. What's his role today, do you think?
Well, coming from a list clogger as I was, his role is to sustain the side. So, look, it'll just be interesting to see how he goes about it. He just needs to compete. I think it'll be hard for him if James Sicily and who's the other guy that's out? Dylan Moore returns. So fingers crossed for him for a good day.
Underway here in Launceston. You're with Michael Maney.
Ball up in the centre. Clearance is going to go to Petrarca, and he just wobbles it out to the half-forward line. All done by Long, this way, that way. Little left footer, didn't go 15. Took Miller's got it. Oh, just speeds away on the boundary. Kicks Long, looking for King. Knocked away by Impey. Barris did it well. Back to Impey by hand. Impey just to the outer side, half-back flank. Weddle got a little nudge, but Reid took a good mark. Reid just peels it back inboard, looking for Anderson. Anderson's outside 50. Pulled the kick a bit. Spotted a man. Got him. And Weller takes the mark about 40 metres out, slight angle.
Really interesting to see Ethan Reid line up on the far wing on Josh Weddle. Obviously with Ugle-Hagan back in, Reid at 200 centimetres took a contested mark against Weddle on that far wing. So it'll be interesting to see how long he stays out there on that far wing.
They'll be disappointed, Hawthorn, with that. Reid going, I guess, kicking to a real danger zone, missing the target, but still Noah Anderson had enough time to correct himself and find a mark inside 50.
Lockie Weller from about 45. He might have just pushed it through for a goal. He has. He celebrates, and the Suns get the perfect start at York Park. They're one straight 6. Hawthorn yet to score. Gone about a minute and a half.
It's great to see Lockie Weller back in the form. Obviously, a young man that's had a lot of injuries on his journey so far, but his run and carry and his speed on a day like today in beautiful conditions is going to be really important. And just a great start for the Gold Coast to get an inside 50 and get a shot on goal. And you know, I suppose from the Gold Coast perspective, they'd be loving these conditions today. They might have thought coming down here it might have been a touch cooler, but it'll probably suit them.
Perfect start for the Gold Coast Suns as we head back into the middle. Nick Watson's been injected straight into the ball up very early doors in this game. So Gold Coast with the early advantage, one straight 6. Hawthorn yet to score. Back in the middle, Witts won it down. Newcomb come flashing through, was collected high by Witts. He'll get a free kick, lays it off immediately to the running Impey, who bounces off the back of the square, drives Hawthorn inside 50. Target was Gunston, off hands Mac Andrew to mop up for the Suns. Squirts a ball wide, wanted Lombard on the bounce. He's going to miss him, it's out. It's going to be a Lasso free kick going Hawthorn's way. Right in front of the interchange benches, broadcast side. Scrimshaw back in the side today for the Hawks. Pokes a short one into D'Ambrosio, who turns onto his left, goes deep inside 50. Big fly at the back, no mark taken. There's Reid. Here's Wizard Watson on the right foot. And some early magic from the Wizard. Hawthorn on the board. They have their first. And Nick Watson with some early impact. One straight 6, the Hawks. Gold Coast one straight 6. 3 minutes gone. First term Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
Just on that passage of play there, the Gold Coast Suns defenders, all 3 of them, all flying for the mark. That happened on 2 repeat entries, and we had a really good view of it here in the box. As soon as that ball hit the ground, you just saw the Hawthorn midfield and even their defenders just squeeze the ground and provide a lot of frontal pressure on the Gold Coast Suns as they try to gather that ball. But there's one guy you can't give enough leg rope to, Nida, and that's Watson. As soon as the ball hits the ground inside 50.
I mean, the great thing about that, his craft was elite. He was front and square, then watched the adjustment off hands, and then he spat to the side of the contest. Great work.
Good centering ball too from D'Ambrosio. Ball up in the centre. Paddling was Rowell. Nash chopped off by Petrarca. Really high ball. Going to be a shallow inside 50. They go back. Battle couldn't take the mark. Spilled it but recovered well. Got it by hand to Impey. Impey overcooked the little chip to Massimo D'Ambrosio, and the pack develops. It'll be a ball up on the wing on the broadcast side of York Park. Scores are level, one straight 6. Weller and Watson, the 2 W's with the goals. Reeves just over the top of Witts. The umpire's picked out a free kick and it'll go to Connor Nash.
So Noah Anderson holding Connor Nash at the stoppage. Anderson back in the team today after missing just 1 week after having the appendix out. Nash kicks to left half forward. Big fly from the back from Deere, unable to bring it down. D'Ambrosio involved again, laying the tackle. It spills out the back to Rioli, who shares it with McAndrew of the Suns. Back to Rioli, and now the little poke pass back to Will Powell inside defensive 50. At right half back for the Gold Coast Suns. Pierces a ball into the middle of the ground where Petrarca awaits. Now he lays it off by hand to the running Anderson. Kicks it to half forward. Good strong mark taken by Ben Long. And he's a true centre-half forward. Wheels onto his right boot. He's got a 2-on-1 deep. Walter was the flyer. Impey broke it up. It fell to Lombard, who kicked around the body on his left. Misses to the left, a minor score for the Suns. They've got a 1-1-7. Hawthorn 1 straight 6, 5 gone first term.
Yeah, it would have been lovely to see Walter stick his knee up and in then, and he had a chance to take a contested mark inside 50. Love to see him really elevate and fly at that football.
Short kick by Hardwick finds Impey on this side of the ground. At half back. Goes in short. Amon presents. That's just gone the 15. No one on the marks, and Weller just drops back. Another little short kick. Hugging the line here, the Hawks. McDonald takes it and then gives it to the running Amon, who pierces a kick down, looking for Deere. Taken by Watson. Lovely work. Here's Ginnivan. Ginnivan measures the kick to Lewis. Lewis is right on the paint of 50. He's a booming kick. And I reckon he's got this distance in him.
That was such great composure there by Jack Ginnivan. I guess if you're a player out there, I guess if you can spot up a player in that, we call it the gold zone territory, they're about 50 to 70 metres out, it just draws the Gold Coast defenders, but he had a risk of just wanting to blaze away and kick long, but he didn't.
3 goals last week. He's booted 10-7 this year. Lewis, he's got to draw it left to right. It's coming back. It is dead straight. He celebrates. He's got a few mates there with him. The high fives come from everywhere. Good build up by the Hawks, as Cal Sinclair said. The kick from Ginnivan was exceptional, and the Hawks have got a couple. They're 2 straight 12 to 1-1-7. We've gone 6.5 first.
It's amazing how the modern game's changed in that high forward role. We see Brian Myers, Zach Bailey and Jack Ginnivan play it for Hawthorn, where they play 3 quarters of the ground, Cal. They kick up to half back, and then as the ball moves forward, they just get involved, and they get involved with handball chains, kick chains, and then that was just a lovely inside 50 by Ginnivan.
Important to note as well, I reckon those high half forwards, they don't need to have like 25 touches. They can have 12 to 17 touches, but be really, really impactful, because as you would know, Nilo, it's a bloody tough role to play.
Absolutely it is.
Walks out to a 5-point lead. Mitch Lewis enjoying a career season. Boots his 11th goal of the season. Back in the middle we go. Rao pouncing on a loose footy. He's immediately taken to ground by Connor McDonald, who's been injected into the middle and is also having a very good year himself. The young Hawk, Witts and Reeves go after it. It was Witts that won it down. Connor McDonald again applying the pressure as Bailey Humphrey comes flashing through. It's going nowhere. Another ball up in the middle of York Park.
Can I just say, there aren't many people that make Jared Witts look small. Ned Reeves is a head taller than Jared Witts. It's unbelievable.
210 centimetres is Ned Reeves as Noah Anderson slaps it out of the middle of the ground. Bouncing ball inside the Hawks' defence. Battle has to go on after it. Risky handball to Barras. They'll get out of it here. Scrimshaw, the former son, back in the team. Shook a tackler. Laid it off to Hardwick by hand. Straddling the boundary on the right half back. Clears defensive 50 to a pack. It's off hands and over the line for a ball in. Centre wing out of side.
Gold Coast are really going to have to lower their eyes going inside 50 today. I mean, Barras, Scrimshaw, those guys, they love the intercept. So we're going to have to lower our eyes going inside 50 from a Gold Coast Suns perspective.
Hawthorn by 5 points. Ball in. Reed's there with Weddle. Weddle tries to get the handball away, gets it chopped off, recovers well, gets it back to Ward. Ward wants to give it back to Weddle, and he got a good shepherd off the ball too. Did Josh Weddle. He kicks inside 50, a bouncing ball. The Wizard, that's a miraculous little tap over the top. Little handball comes back out, back to Wiz. Can't get rid of it, and in the end he got rid of it illegally. A couple of nice deft touches there by Watson, but he came unglued, was tackled and dropped the footy, and the Gold Coast will relieve from deep in defence. Anderson goes out wide to the run of Powell. Powell's got to run onto this, but it's going to scoot away, and it could be the old lasso, as they say, and a free kick to go to the Hawks.
McDonald to take it. Short ball is on. He plays on immediately to Weddle. Pokes the ball inside 50 to the leading Gunston. Reaching up above his ears, takes the mark. And Jack Gunston, the renaissance continues for the veteran. He'll kick for goal 45 metres out on a 45-degree angle.
Yeah, it was just great to see the Hawks from that lasso free kick. They were able to change an angle inside the corridor, and then Weddle, who from an optics point of view is as good to watch as anyone in the league going around at the moment when he's got time and space, and Gunston with a lovely shot on goal.
19 goals this season for the number 19. He leans back into the kick, puts the slipper into it, and it was a wobbly old thing. It might have just bounced through. Well, that is remarkable. Nobody on the line. It dipped late. It barely made the distance, but no coverage on the goal line means that Jack Gunston kicks his first of the afternoon, and the Hawks have their third. 3 straight 18 to the Suns 1-1-7. That was an absolute potato sack that deserved absolutely nothing, but it's 6 points.
I was just about to give Jack Gunston the biggest pump up, because he's a real traditionalist in front of goal, like has a routine. He looks like Rory McIlroy at the tee when he kicks it, but that was utterly horrible. And I know as a coach, Niall, what you would have said, where's the ruckman on the goal line?
Well,
what's going on?
As part of the ruck club, Callum, where was the ruckman, mate? Where was Witsy?
We were solving the world's problems out. The ruckman solving the world's problems out in the wing.
They are intellectual, mate, those ruckmen.
Still shaking his head, Jack Gunston refused to celebrate that. Here's Mackenzie from the ball up, flicks it back to Amon, so Hawks go into attack again. It's a high floating ball, and nicely done by Weller, who got back with the flight to take the mark. Lewis was hovering. He goes short to find Collins at half back, just 15 metres or so away from the interchange gates on the broadcast side of the ground. No one on the mark. He waddles away, kicks it long. One for the Flyers. Up goes Meek, can't take the mark. Rouse front and square. Got tackled, got rid of it. Umpire said illegally, so the tackle was outstanding. Ward is the man. Goes in short and finds Amon at true centre half back. He doesn't know where to go. Wanted his left, then decided with the handball, got it to Hardwick, and they take it to the outside of the ground, and the mark taken by Dalton away to Mackenzie, who goes short and finds Gunston a long, long way from goal on the outer side wing.
2 kicks from home is Jack Gunston. He'll just pump this one long. Inside 50, go the Hawks again. Pack forms. McAndrew was at the front, couldn't complete the mark. Noble missed it. Pressure applied there by McDonald. It shoots out the back via Watson. Kick inside 50 now from Gunston, looking for Newcomb. He was dragged off it, and the umpire was a little hesitant on the whistle, but eventually it came, as Newcomb was the recipient of some illegal contact. He'll kick for goal, 45 metres out, almost directly in front.
They just look a bit sharper around the contest shape, the Hawks, and what I mean by that was the ball's bobbling and spilling in the contest. The Hawks' shape just looks a bit better, and they're able to execute 1 or 2, 3 first give handballs and get out and get a look inside 50. A little bit sharper at this point in time early in the game.
So the Hawks looking for their 4th in fairly quick succession as John Newcomb makes his approach, lets fly, and it bangs into the left-hand goalpost. So the first blemish for the Hawks off the boot of John Newcomb. They're 3-1-19, leading Gold Coast 1-1-7. 12 and a half gone. First term Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
Noble with the kicking in duties wants to come to this side of the ground. Gains about an extra 15-20, then kicks to a pack. Wits over the top. Nicely done by Morrison back in the side. Mackenzie couldn't quite grab it, then extracted it out there. Got a handball away to Meek. Meek kicks it high. Up goes Andrew. Went to punch it away and then grabbed it on the second, third attempt. Held it to himself, and the umpire said, no mark. It'll be a ball up.
Wasn't a bad contest there from Ginnivan. Actually looked in not a bad position there against McAndrew.
Long and short of it. Ball up. In goes Rowell. Tries to burst his way through, but he's tackled by 3 Hawks, and it's about 50 metres out from the Hawthorn goal. Up it goes. Meek took it out of the ruck. How did he dispose of that? Graham did nicely. The handball looked to Noble. They're just a little bit fumbly at the moment, the Gold Coast Suns. Can't quite get it together. Little handball comes out here looking for Petrarca, and then running onto it was Mackenzie, who got it from McGuinness. Now flicks over the back to Hardwick. Now to Ward. Ward pulled the kick, and the mark taken by McDonald. That's a lovely finger tipper by McDonald. He shoot from 45, almost directly in front.
No, is it fair to say, like, Hawthorn are just so, I don't know if daring's the word going inside 50, but it's like they're all on the same page. They want to go short, they want to penetrate and find something, and they don't mind taking that risk.
Yeah, it is. They're happy to drop the ball in between the defensive layers, which can be a bit precarious if you turn it over because you open up the counter-attack, but being daring is working for them at the moment.
McDonald couldn't quite work it far enough left to bring it back right. That breeze is rolling right across the ground, and he kicks it behind. Hawthorn 3-2-20, and the Suns 1-1-7. We've gone 14.5 first term.
Hewlin takes a bounce out of full back and then drives beyond defensive 50 for the Gold Coast Suns. Contest forms on the wing. It bobbles around. Reed ends up with it. He tried to kick it around the corner, gained some territory, but it went straight over the boundary line. And it'll be a Hawthorn free kick right in front of the interchange benches. 3-2-20 the Hawks, 1-1-7 the Suns. Hope you're enjoying the coverage. Saturday footy on ABC Sport as Battle drives inside 50 for the Hawks. It's off hands. It's just bouncing around the boundary line. It refuses to go out. Morrison went in, slipped over, came out to Reed. Reed again goes in, gets it. Handball to Rao. He spins through a tackle, kicks into the middle of the ground. It was ill-directed. Hardwick was there. Didn't take the mark. Regathered the footy, kicked into the pocket where Mitch Lewis was awaiting. It was just enough pressure from the Suns defenders in Collins. And that man Reed again, the 202-centimetre wingman, to force it over for a boundary throw-in. 40 metres around from the left-hand behind post. Hawthorn attacking zone. Kicking to the Invermay end of the ground as Meek does the ruck work against Walter. Walter won it over the back. Fighting it at ground level was Took Miller. Just tapped it to his teammates' advantage, but they pile on again and we'll have a ball up on the paint of 50.
They just need to get some control, Gold Coast Suns, when they've got the footy. You just felt they're trying to go quick, but they need to play some tempo.
Meek palms it down straight into the path of Graham. He tried to get it to Rowell. Meek lays the tackle now, and it's all held up. Going nowhere, another ball up. Hawthorn 3-2-20, Gold Coast 1-1-7. 16.5 gone. Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
Ruckman go up. Meek knocks it, but it's just high to no one at all. Ward did well, got it to Morrison. Off a step, wobbles it forward. It's high. Where are the Crummers? Lewis cast in that role. Reed just ran straight past it for Gold Coast. In goes Ginnivan. Ball's close to the line and the umpire says give it to me. Crowd wanted a free kick against Gold Coast. Nothing doing. Really close to the line here. And a free kick is coming and it's going to the Hawks. It's going to Meek. One of those ruck free kicks that we all look at each other and say, what? Yeah, but Lloyd Meek has got it right on 50. He's hard up against the boundary line. He'll have the breeze right behind him. This is a tough kick from there. He's going to have to kick it really hard at the left goal post and hope that he's got enough distance and depth in it. He's going to have a shot. The big lumbering ruckman comes in and kicks it out of bounds on the full. Big build-up. But Lloyd couldn't deliver. And no score, 3-2-20 the Hawks. The Suns 1-1-7. We've gone 17.5.
Noble brings it into Adams, back to Noble, who kicks beyond defensive 50, outer side. Big fist over the back from Hardwick into the path now of Dalton, who controlled it, then got it off to Newcomb, checked the kick, made its way to McKenzie. Inside 50 go the Hawks again, spotted the target in Watson. The big man in Ethan Reed come across, broke it up, it spilled out the back to Mac Andrew, and now Jake Rogers via the releasing kick. He kicks up the line. Jed Walter marks on centre wing. Suns are away here if they can work out a chain of handballs, and Lockie Weller unable to do so. Pressured out of it by Jack Scrimshaw. Handballs it straight over the line. Lasso free kick to the Hawks. It'll come via the boot.
He needed to get right back off the mark, Walters. He had Ugo Hagen just absolutely free on the backside.
Impey takes some territory and then drives towards left half forward for the Hawks. Through hands, Nash and now McKenzie. Inside 50 go the Hawks. Gunston's in the pocket, 2 to deal with. Good defence by Bodie Hewland with a flying fist, knocks it over for a minor score. Hawks go to 3-2-20. 3-3-21 make that. Gold Coast 1-1-7.
They're just changing the angles so well with either handball or short kicks, Hawks, and they're able to then penetrate inside 50. And Gold Coast will have to apply a little bit of that themselves, I would have thought.
Bodie Hewland goes long to the wing. Good kick, long, picked it up, one grab. Walter back pedals, got the handball away to Rowell. Now to Anderson. Anderson just threw it on the boot. Which way will it bounce? Bounces too high for Lombard. And they all pile in. And it'll be a ball up. It's about 65 metres from the Suns' goal. It's between the arc of 50 and the centre square line. They go. Meek knocked it down. Nash got by hand to Mackenzie. Mackenzie just kicked it high, and chipping it off was Collins, who shorts it up to Mac Andrew. Mac Andrew is at half-back, just inside the centre square back end of it for the Gold Coast. Goes in, finds Rioli, and Jack Gunston. This is a 50-metre penalty. Gunston tried to get around Rioli to go on the mark, and then said he was in the protected zone. I'm not really quite sure, Matthew Knights, what he could have done there, but it's a 50.
Yeah, the rule is it's so touch and go in regards to once you're in that protected area, you've got to stay in, you can't move out. But what Gunston did, he come from slightly outside of it, and he was trying to get defensive side of Rioli. Obviously, the umpire adjudicated. It was a real fine line, that one. I didn't see a lot in it.
Won't be the last one they'll pay, but Rioli's going to kick from about 47, directly in front. A little skip and a hop. He sits it up. It's pushed out to the right. And maybe the footy gods are sitting up in the grandstand there somewhere and just said, well, yeah, we're not comfortable with that. 1-2-8, the Suns. Hawthorn 3-3-21.
From the kick in, aim on, finds Blake Hardwick all on his own inside defensive 50. He's allowed some time and space to drive it outside of defensive 50. Weddle shares it with Dalton. Back to Weddle. That gets the crowd up on their feet. Inside 50 go the Hawks. Mac Andrew got a hand in. Off hands was Collins. Shared it with Hewland. And now Andrew again just drives it outside of defensive 50. Bouncing ball on centre wing now to be mopped up by the Hawks. And Jarman Impey. Mackenzie, he's been busy early here in Launceston. Short ball is good to Scrimshaw. He goes further afield now to Impey, who kept on running. He's at left half forward, about 65 metres from the teeth of goal. He just stops and props and assesses his options. Wheels around onto his right. He's just going to bang it long. Hope for the Flyers. Top of the square now. Big grab taken. And that might be Finn McGuinness. And Finn McGuinness, who stood taller than the talls, has ended up with the footy in his lap, and he'll kick for goal from the top of the goal square.
It's actually been a bit of a theme of the Gold Coast defenders, actually all flying, but just there they'd be pretty disorganised, and I think Hardwick would be absolutely fuming in the box with that effort from their defenders.
So Finn McGuinness, one of those 5 changes swung by the Hawks, steps on in and pops it through. They have 4 to the Hawks. 4-3-27 go Hawthorn. Gold Coast 1-2-8 through 22 minutes in this first term. Saturday footy on ABC Sport. Chris Rowbottom with you on the play-by-play. Michael Maney, Matthew Knights, Cal Sinclair and Andrew Cooling on the boundary. Hawthorn open up a 19-point advantage by the boot of Finn McGuinness, who stood tall in the pack, Cal Sinclair.
Yeah, he certainly did. And Nida, I might put this one to you, not to make a headline, but Finn McGuinness, he's probably in and out with inconsistencies at Hawthorn. He might be the kind of mature age player that could reinvent themselves at Tasmania in a couple of years. Well, maybe not.
Absolutely, those guys are on the sort of fringe, and obviously their clubs, and he's playing at a really strong club.
Yeah.
Hawthorn and Geelong, those guys can be really valuable. We've also got Ned Moyle sitting to my right in the box next door, and hopefully he likes the green colour as well.
So can you confirm there's been a conversation there?
Suns go forward. Almost a kick off the ground by Ugle-Hagan. Can't get it. Right in the teeth of goal here. Gold Coast attacking. Weddle this way, that way. Little handball away to Battle. Battle just threw it onto his boot. Just a dump kick out of there by Battle, and it's been marked by Petrarca. Thought about the short kick in the pass to Took Miller. But Battle under not as much pressure as he thought he was, I don't think, and just dump kicked it, and then Petrarca. He's been in good goal kicking form.
No, he has. Petrarca does find ways to get shots on goal, and not to harp on about Tasmania, but
no,
your money does go.
We are in Tasmania.
Your money does go a fair way here. I've looked at the property market, so there could be some investment opportunities for a buyer's agent out there.
What's your body feeling good, big fella? You looking to make a...
Everyone's got a price.
Here's Petrarca from 45. He's pushed it way, way, way to the right. and it's out of bounds on the full. The crowd seems to love that particular ending. Ball's gone into the construction area, and we're just getting another one from behind the goal. So there's the man with the orange gear. He'll go and collect that, and Jarman Impey will put Hawthorn to halfback.
You might be playing second fiddle to Ned Moyle as the backup ruck cow if Moyle's on his way down, but the kick is beyond defensive 50, and the Suns are going to come up with it here via Weller. He tries to shrug off Harry Morris, and he does so, but he's eventually pinged and bit off a little more than he could chew, did Lockie Weller with the stiff arm, and Harry Morrison wins himself a holding the ball free kick. Thought about Ward on the short. He's going to go a little further to Carl Amon. Still inside defensive 50 here, the Hawks, but they've got a couple of free bodies inside the centre square. Nash is one of those. He comes back to the point of the square in Harry Morrison, and he goes out to the broadcast wing where D'Ambrosio awaits. He strokes the ball up the line to Nick Watson, who's a long way from home. He's going to take on his man in Noble and pump the Hawks inside 50. Top of the square it goes. Who can fly? Ginnivan's at the fall. He's lurking. He's unable to gather the footy. Rioli could. Got it off to Miller of the Suns. He shares it with Noah Anderson. Back to Rioli, who kept on running onto his right boot now, kicks along the line, and it's well worked up the line here by the Suns. Walter on the end of the chain. Here's Jamara. He reels it in with the one mitt, and Jamara Ugle-Hagan will kick for goal. 45 metres out, slight angle, and this would be a wonderful moment for the young man who last played AFL football 596 days ago.
It's just great penetration from Gold Coast all the way back from their D50. It hasn't worked up to this point because Hawthorn's pressure has been elite, but they were able to get from D50 to front 50 in the blink of an eye on that occasion.
First game as a Sun, 5 in the VFL last week, leans back on the kick, pumps the chest, welcome back to the big time. Jubilant Jamara, and they come from all corners. They absolutely mob the young man. Damien Hardwick said that they made him earn a return, and he's on the board here in Launceston. 4-3-27 go the Hawks, 2-2-14 now the Suns, and the good news story continues to roll on at York Park.
Yeah, it was just great to see the young man take his opportunity. The Suns had 2 set shots prior that both missed, both achievable shots, so for Jamara to be able to set a steady, soak up the moment and be able to land one was really important to the Suns in the game, so great start for Jamara.
Nice and steady. Always been a good kick, Ugle-Hagan. Very laconic. Doesn't seem rushed. Got a good technique. Back in the centre, Reeves and Witts. Witts got it out. Newcomb with the tackle. Petrarca shrugs one, gets it to Miller. Here come the Suns. Short kick, pulled it. Ugle-Hagan. 1 grab, 2 grabs, 3. Not paid. No free kick. Well done by Scrimshaw. Got his way out of there. Now he's got some problems. Gets it to Amon. Now back to battle. Morrison's got a couple to contend with. Gets it back to Scrimshaw somehow. So the Hawks, all of a sudden, under pressure. I think the Suns have really ramped it up. Here's Massimo D'Ambrosio. Good-looking chipping ball and finds Nash. Nash has got Ward. Ward keeps running. And a little kick. Just a real scrubber. Wasn't good. It just hits over the back. Noble got a hand on it. Here's Wizard. He's trying to get there. Will he? No. It is knocked through for a behind. The Hawks moved it quickly. Wasn't as slick as the Suns, but they got it there. 4-4-28 Hawthorn, 2-2-14. Gold Coast Suns, 27.5 gone first term.
Big Sammy Collins made a decision to come off his man then and just try to impact, but got cleanly bowled, the big fella. I think he might retreat back to his defender next opportunity he gets.
Will Power with the kick in duties, ambles out of the square and just pumps it up to the broadcast wing. It's off hands, it's bodies everywhere as they pile on top of the footy. Just back of the logo, centre wing will have a ball up. Up it goes. Witts and Reeves. It was Reeves over the back. Newcomb just forced off it as they go to work at ground level. Rowell couldn't win it, but it squirted out to Noble, then Petrarca, then Miller, now Weller, who shrugs another, got the hands free and fed it to Petrarca. Inside 50 now go the Suns. 1-on-1 between Long and Impey. It bounced off Impey's chest. They were there to mop up though the Hawks. Scrimshaw, Weddle, now back to Impey, who goes for a gallop on the outer side. Takes a bounce, looked Walter in the eye and said, "I'll take you on." Now it's back to Weddle via hand. He just lays the shoe into it. High ball towards right half forward for the Hawks. Here's Wizard out the back. Couldn't quite pounce on the loose foot. He might have spent it before he had it. Goes in again, tackled as he got the handball out. Noble's there, Dalton goes in, as does Anderson. He's tackled as he does. It's all wrapped up here inside, attacking 50 for the Hawks. Eventually Noble pounces on the loose footy and they releases Humphrey in the middle of the ground. Takes some territory, kicked it to a vacant square. Right on the buzzer, it bounces over. He had some players on, but it's over and out as the siren sounds. Entertaining first quarter of footy. Jamara Ugle-Hay got on the board. Hawthorn with the early 14-point advantage. They're 4-4-28, the Hawks. The Suns 2-2-14. Cal Sinclair, what did you make of the opening stanza?
Oh, they got better, the Gold Coast Suns, as the quarter went on. But I think that first sort of 15, 17 minutes of that game, it was just all Hawthorn. They repeat inside 50. They were finding plenty of marks going inside 50. The players that the Gold Coast Suns didn't want to hit the scoreboard did. Watson was electric. He just looks like, you saw in that last passage of play, Nida, whenever the ball goes in there, his reaction time compared to literally everyone out there it's actually beyond elite compared to the guys that he's playing with and against. But I think inaccuracy cost the Gold Coast Suns. But as you said, that last passage of play, they were out. And I just feel like they're lacking a little bit of finishing skills compared to what Hawthorn are at the moment. But Nida, I'd be curious to see what your thoughts are as well.
Yeah, I thought Hawthorn really dominated the first sort of period of the game, and they were able to dominate it with, short kicks, crisp handball around the contest and able to get the ball forward. And then they were able to land balls inside 50 to uncontested marks. The little bit of an issue I have with Gold Coast, and it's probably not just today but moving forward, they obviously play that past Richmond style where they play straight and fast. And if you get through, it looks amazing. But what I think Hawthorn's pressure really probably took over a little bit early. And I think you mentioned it, Cal, they weren't able to find that mark, Gold Coast, and then maybe string 3 or 4 marks together. So for me, it's like Geelong have got that, Brisbane have got that, Hawthorn have got that. Can Gold Coast add that tempo to their game that's probably not as natural as those other top teams at the moment?
What's been really, really evident watching Hawthorn, this is my first time watching them this year, is on the TV and stuff, they look really, really pretty with their kicking style and they're really crafty, particularly around corners with the talent that they've got. But it's all built off pressure and work rate. You just see how ferocious they are when the ball hits the ground. They've got really, really good personnel in that department. But Matt Rao needs to get going. I'm not really sure if he's had a possession that quarter. He had 3, but he only got them probably towards the last few minutes of that quarter. So there are guys that need to get on the stat sheet for the Gold Coast Suns. And
Saturday footy for ABC Sport, the voice of Callum Sinclair, Matthew Knights alongside him, Chris Robert and Michael Maney on the call, Andrew Cooling on the boundary. Hawthorn 4-4-28 lead the Gold Coast Suns 2-2-14 after 1. We'll take a short break and be back right after this.
You meet the most interesting people on Sunday morning.
I tell you what, I'd kill for some clean air and a good coffee over here, and there's no generic latte over here.
Come home straight away, please. Join the rest of Australia right here on Sunday morning.
Australia All Over on ABC Radio. This is Anzac Day Footy
with ABC Sport.
Feels it back inboard, looking for Anderson. Anderson's outside 50, pulled the kick a bit, spotted a man, got him. And Weller takes the mark. Lockie Weller from about 45. He might have just pushed it through for a goal. He has. He celebrates, and the Suns get the perfect start.
Here's Wizard Watson on the right foot. And some early magic from the Wizard. Hawthorn on the board. They have their first. McDonald to take it. Short ball is on. He plays on immediately to Weddle. Pokes the ball inside 50 to the leading Gunston. Reaching up above his ears. Takes the mark. 19 goals this season for the number 19. He leans back into the kick. Puts the slipper into it. And it was a wobbly old thing. It might have just bounced through. Well, that is remarkable. Nobody on the line. It dipped late. It barely made the distance. But no coverage on the goal line means that Jack Gunston kicks his first of the afternoon. Back to Rioli, who kept on running. Onto his right boot now. Kicks along the line. And it's well worked up the line here by the Suns. Walter on the end of the chain. Here's Jamara. He reels it in with the 1 mitt. And Jamara Ugle-Hagan will kick for goal. 45 metres out, slight angle. First game as a Sun, 5 in the VFL last week. Leans back on the kick, pumps the chest. Welcome back to the big time. jubilant Jamara, and they come from all corners.
Anzac Day Footy on ABC Local Radio, Sport Digital, and on ABC Listen.
Yes, 596 days since Jamara Ugle-Hagen's last game. He's back in for the Gold Coast Suns this afternoon against the Hawks, and he's on the board with an early major, but it is the Hawks that lead this one at the first break. 4-4-28 Hawthorn, 2-2-14 the Gold Coast Suns. Both teams in their huddles. The goal kickers for you so far, as mentioned, for the Suns, Ugle-Hagen has one, as does Lockie Weller. Singles for the Hawks to Finn McGuinness, Jack Gunston, Mitch Lewis and Nick Watson. Some breaking news from AFL HQ. The AFL advises that it's terminated the appointment of Will Horton KC as chair of the AFL Appeals Board effective immediately. Mr Horton served as chair since his appointment in March 2024 and has contributed at club level over many years in the AFL. Thanks him for his service. So that's off the back of some very, very interesting decisions made by the Appeals Board at AFL Tribunal level. There was the Nick Foot, Zach Butters scenario, and then the Lance Collard decision as well more recently. So some big news from AFL HQ with Will Horton, the chair of the AFL Appeals Board, terminated by the AFL effective immediately.
Some of the wording around all of that, Chris, was a little bit hard to fathom.
It was extremely strange, to put it lightly, it has to be said. Footy game to be played here in Launceston though. Hawthorn lead the Gold Coast as players make their way back out into their positions. Cal Sinclair, how did you see it, and how what needs to change and what needs to stay the same for both teams going into quarter number 2?
Well, I think with Gold Coast Suns, Hardwick's comments would have to be, we just have to start reading the context, getting our hands on the ball, and don't be afraid to just hold the ball up and play some tempo footy.
Back underway in the middle, early free kick, plucked out of the ball up. It's going to go the way of the Suns. It's against John Newcomb for some holding on Matt Rowell. Gets round onto his right boot. It's a flat ball inside 50, off hands. Amon collected it, just shrugged the Miller tackle, got it off to Hardwick, who thumps it out to the outer side. Foot race on here, Mac Andrew and Cal Shadir. That's an athletic matchup as it rolls over the line, and it's going to be a lasso free kick. Nobody able to lay a finger on it. Andrew will take it for the Suns, right half back. In front of a construction site, essentially. Vacant spot where the renovations are happening here. Big fly from the back there from Ben Long, off his hands. It was D'Ambrosio mopping up for the Hawks. Loops a handball inboard to Amon. He shared it with Newcomb, tried to get it to Jarman Impey, who just had to find it on the bootlaces. He was able to do so, shot it off to Connor McDonald. They're running in waves here, the Hawks. Connor Nash, now D'Ambrosio and Ginnivan on the outside. Back to D'Ambrosio, that familiar left boot. Top of the goal square, big fly from the side from Kaushadir. Off hands, it was Gunston who gathered. He was wrapped up, swung 360, lost the footy, and pinged for holding the ball. And it'll be a Gold Coast free kick. Deep in defence. Picked off immediately with a short ball by Kaushadir, but it wasn't 15, so he's been called to play on. Puts Connor Nash under the pump. He's immediately tackled, brought to ground. It'll be a ball up, 45 metres out from Hawthorn's goal.
Deer would think himself a touch unlucky. He hasn't had many touches and an intercept. He would have liked a shot on goal there.
Had to get rid of it really quickly too. Ball flicks out of this, taken by D'Ambrosio. He's going to handle on it now. He's going to have a shot for goal, I reckon. He left footer just lays it up and then just squeezes it out to the left. He was on a full burst, was Massimo, and he kicks it behind. Hawthorn 4-5-29, 2-2-14 Gold Coast Suns.
Kaushadir might be another one for you, Nida.
We're going to have a long list by the end of the day, aren't we?
I'm not sure you're going to be invited back, Cal, because you're...
I'm popping up, Tess, mate. I'm trying to find you some talent.
Matt Rouser.
We're going to leave that to
2027.
Todd Patterson and Derek Hine. They can... That's their gig.
If they need an apprentice.
They work it out of defence, the Suns, but it's been chopped off by the Hawks. Battle Newcomb. Now Nash missed the handball. Andrew came sliding in. Now applying the tackle at ground level is Mitch Lewis, right on the paint of 50. Hawthorn attacking zone. 4-5-29 the Hawks. Lead the Suns 2-2-14. Anzac Day footy for ABC Sport. Off hands, Anderson couldn't bring it under his control. Tackle applied by Rowell. Flying shot on goal now, top of the square. It was off the boot of Lewis. Gunston couldn't reel it in. Going after it was Adams. Tackled at ground level by Ginnivan. They fight in the forward pocket. Cries of ball from the Hawthorn faithful. Umpire arrives on the scene. He'll ball it up 10 metres away from the Hawthorn goal mouth. They're looking for their 5th of the afternoon. Up it goes. Witts and Meek to do battle. Shoots out. D'Ambrosio around the corner. Another unguarded goal line. It just got over. And D'Ambrosio, who missed a previous shot, makes good on the second attempt. And Hawthorn do find their 5th of the afternoon. 5-5-35 go the Hawks. Open up a bit of a mini break on the Suns. 2-2-14 early stages of the second term Anzac Day footy for ABC Sport. Matthew Knights.
It was just great to see Hawthorn use the back handball, which is probably gone out of the game a little bit because a lot of teams play forward football now. But in that front 30, Gold Coast were caught defending defensive side and were all loaded up one side, and Hawthorn were able to use the back handball and have a lovely shot on goal from a snap, and really great setup and great ruck work by Meek.
I just watched the stoppage night. D'Ambrosio was literally at the back of that stoppage all on his own, inside 50. So Damien Hardwick will be looking at his defenders going, what is going on?
And on his non-preferred too, he'd be pretty chuffed with that. Here's Rowell out of the centre, got a little half-distance kick, goes out wide to the wing. Newcomb's there, collared by Weller. Weller gets the handball over the top, looking for Anderson. Anderson hard up against the boundary line, out of side. Kicks it just before it gets inside 50, ball knocked away. It'll be a throw-in. Big Tom Barras is there. He's a big hulk of a man. Gets it to the line. It'll be a ball in. 14 plays 35. The Hawks in front.
Hulk of a man, but very intelligent, Tom Barras.
Yeah.
Had the pleasure of doing a few years with him at West Coast. Always had very interesting views in the world.
It's good. It's good. He's not just a pretty face. He's got the substance.
That's your assessment.
Oh, that's open for comment for sure. Still at half back for the Hawks, half forward for the Suns. D'Ambrosio just with a real old wobbler. Deere and Andrew flicks over the back. Watson runs onto it. He's got Gap covered. I tell you what, here he goes. Kicks it long, looking for Gunston, who takes the mark. Oh, he put a yard or two on a couple of Gold Coast defenders there, did Nick Watson. And Gunston's lining up for goal number 2. That is the ability to take ground and take it quickly. Gunston from about 10 metres out, kicks around the corner. Goal umpire says that's a goal. Hawks out to a 27-point lead. The man they call Gunners has got a couple and is the Hawks 6-5-41 to the Suns 2-2-14. Matthew Knights.
I think Gold Coast will have to do something with D'Ambrosio on that far wing. He's having too much of the ball, and he's so creative with his left foot kick when he does get it, and you know they've got to do something about him. His penetration is far too much, and listen, Watson was just electrifying on that far side. He just put a gap on him and a lovely kick inside 50.
Made the comment before, Nigel, but just his reaction time.
Yep.
It's just that far above anyone out there at the moment, and that's why he's one of the most elite players in the competition. But when he gets you out the back, there's actually no chasing him.
27 points to the good now, Hawthorn. Biggest margin of the afternoon. Over to you, Gold Coast. Back in the middle we go. Tackle immediately applied by Ward on Rowell, who won it off the Jared Witts tap. Up it goes again. Witts and Meek battle it out. It just spills out into the path of Humphrey. He couldn't gather control, but Nash could. Just screwed a ball about 25 metres to centre half forward, but Bodie Hewland was able to get on the end of it for the Suns, take the defensive mark. It must have only just travelled the required distance. Gets onto his right, takes some territory and kicks out to right half forward for the Suns. Witts got in front off his fist. His opposing number in Meek took it. It was Hardwick and then Connor McDonald via hand, and he releases Jarman Impey, who takes a bounce off the back of the square. Nicely weighted ball to Josh Ward in the middle of York Park. He released it to Impey, who kept on running, just arched the back, gets onto his right, flying shot on goal. That is one of the goals of the season from Jarman Impey. Like a flash through the middle of Launceston. He nails it from 50. And Hawthorn skip out to a 33-point advantage. 7-5-47. Go the Hawks. 2-2-14 the Suns. And didn't he enjoy that, did Jarman Impey? What a finish.
It was a quality finish and a quality goal, but I was actually watching the Hawthorn forward line as that ball was getting propelled from the half-back line. They just work and gel so well together. But if you're the Gold Coast Suns now, like I'm looking at Jared Witts, Noah Anderson, Took Miller, Matt Rao, like, where are you guys at the moment? You guys have got to get yourselves into the game and actually make an impact physically, because with the scoreline now 47-14, like, it's significant.
Back in the centre, Meek knocks it down to McKenzie on a full burst. He kicks up and under. Zeke Euland's under it. Takes the mark. As a man flashing past in Noble. Handball hit a bit of grass and Noble's under pressure. They're just fumbling. Miller got knocked away far too easily. In they go. Pushing off was Lombard. Did nicely. Showed some pace. Little handball away. This is good by the Gold Coast, taken by Graham. Graham centres it up to centre half forward. No one can take the mark. Ugle-Hagan tried to take it off the pack. Scrimshaw with the handball. McKenzie's under pressure. Gets it back to Amon. Now to Battle. And then Battle uses D'Ambrosio, who's racking them up. This time the kick is okay to Dalton. Dalton dropped the mark, recovered well. Handball comes back inboard to Battle, just to his bootlaces. Can't pick it up. The handball came from McGuinness, I think it was. Little handball back, now chopped off by Miller. Ugly bit of play, but Miller's kick, looking for Lombard. Too far for him. Humphrey runs onto it. They've got him. Tackles him to ground. The umpire says holding the ball. Free kick to the Hawks. To Cam McKenzie, who's having a half reasonable day for the Hawks today.
And career highs in Launceston early in the season last year against the GWS Giants, and Launceston proving a happy hunting ground for him. Harry Morrison with the footy here on the near wing for the Hawks. It's a floating ball. Bodie Euland gets in front of it for the Suns. He's able to share it with Noble, gets it back, missed the handball to Rao. Here's Finn McGuinness, back to McKenzie, tries the shrug, couldn't quite get rid of Will Graham, and he's been pinged for holding the ball.
They're sloppy, the Gold Coast today. They are very fumbly, no connection through handball, kick, nothing.
Needs something to happen here to the Suns. The kick inside attacking 50 is chopped off by Tom Barras, who kick was misguided, wanted Dalton over his head. Chance here for the Suns. They mop up the mess. Wide handball out to Noble, came from Weller. He was tackled by Scrimshaw. McGuinness is there, stands over the footy, rides the Ben King tackle, who's been very quiet indeed. Hawks work it out. Amon strokes it up the line to Dalton, and they're out of defensive 50 now, the Hawks. Connor McDonald out to Lewis. He's on centre wing, outer side, takes some territory, works it around the corner now to Newcomb, one way then the other, then darts one into Gunston. This might be 50. In fact it is. So Gunston took the chest mark, looked inside. Sam Collins just knocked it out of his grasp. He was right on the paint of 50, Gunston. He's going to be marched to the goal mouth, and he'll put through his third of the afternoon.
The damage Amon and Impey and Massimo are doing half-back through wing is just incredible at the moment. They're just propelling the Hawks forward time and time again, and the end result is their forwards are getting good looks. Callum, it's just coming from half-back and penetrating so hard.
Gunston makes no mistake whatsoever, and the Hawks starting to really turn the screws on the Suns here in Launceston. 8-5-53 go Hawthorn. Gold Coast 2-2-14. 11.5 gone. Second term Saturday footy for ABC Sport.
Not to put you on the spot, Nida, but I don't know what's happening with Gold Coast Suns structurally. It feels like they're all getting sucked up the ground. And Hawthorn, once they're kind of exiting by one kick, they just have their entire, I guess, forward half of the ground complete to themselves.
Yeah,
so I'm questioning what's going on. A Gold Coast pressing up so high and having an ability to, I guess, work right back. It's really interesting.
Yeah, they're pressing really high defensively, but they're getting opened up with one kick or one handball.
Yeah.
And then the Hawks are able to get into lots of grass, so it's really opening up for them.
39 points the margin in favour of Hawthorn. Little handball comes out there from Newcomb, but he was pushed in the back by Anderson. A player down in the middle of the ground for Hawthorn's Ned Reeves, just sucking them in. Here's Newcomb. He'll kick it long. One for the high flyers. Up they go. Mac Andrew got there and took the mark. Did it nicely. Wanted 50. Thought to play on. Lewis almost moved off the mark. That stand rule is really tough for free-flowing athletes. Long kick by Andrew. Walter takes a specky. Lovely grab.
That's exactly what you want from him. Getting him high up the ground, building his confidence. He's actually competed pretty well today, Walter. He's flown for a lot of marks.
Goes short to Weller, right in front of us in the commentary position here. Weller goes long. Just to a packed situation, they all fly, flicks over the back, Reeves knocked it down, looking for McKenzie. Anderson, quick hands, got it to Petrarca. Petrarca kicks it inside 50, but who to? Walter, who ran really hard to get there but couldn't take the mark. Now mopped up by Hardwick. Hawks are out of trouble. They'll switch it to the outer side. Ginnivan laconically had a couple of bounces. Then the kick has to be good to McGuinness. It just overcooks it a bit. Bodie Hewlan's right there, was being held on to. Good tackle in by McGuinness. The umpire said, give it to me. It'll be a ball up on the outer side. Hawthorn slightly into attack. They're kicking to the right of your radio dial. They lead by 39 points. Chris Rowbottom for ABC Grandstands.
Andrew Cooling's on the boundary.
Slight concern for the Hawks down here at the moment. Connor Nash has just had his right leg very heavily bandaged up. He's gone back to the bench now. He's done a few run-throughs, but was looking a bit sore, so I'll keep an eye on that one.
Amidst all that, Gunston on the lead has taken a mark in front of Oscar Adams, tight on the boundary. Now 35 metres out from goal. He has a chance to kick his fourth first half goal here, Jack Gunston.
Reid was not impressed.
Improves the angle. He'll kick around the body. High ball. It's just missing to the near side. And a minor score only.
I was just going to say the Gold Coast Suns defenders aren't impressed with their midfield at the moment. It's just coming in so hot. And they just genuinely, not much you can do with the kicking power of the Hawthorn Footy Club at the moment.
Anderson from the back pocket kicks out wide looking for Andrew. Scrimshaw just did enough to hustle him out of it. The ball was mid-air. In goes Ginnivan with a tackle, but it will be another ball up on the outer side. So Hawthorn leading this contest by 40 points. Up it goes, Reeves and Witts, and it might be a free kick going to Witts for a little bit of jumper there, Ned Reeves of Jared Witts. And they just slowed it right down here. They're a bit shell-shocked at the moment, I think, the Suns. Witts just kicks off the instep, just to a pack. No one can take the mark. Zeke Newland was there. And the ball just flicks out of play. It'll be a boundary throw in, outer side, just with Gold Coast slightly in attack. 8-6-54 Hawthorn. They lead the Suns, who have, the 15-minute mark, have got 2 goals, 2-2-14.
Andrew Cooling, back downstairs to you.
Yeah, Connor Nash has run back on. He's right to continue. That right leg very heavily strapped, but he's going to play through it.
The Irishman out of County Meath. Very tough indeed. Out of the stoppage, Ginnivan lays a tackle. It's going nowhere. We're at right half forward for the Gold Coast Suns, still hunting their third goal in this match. Reeves just palmed it down. Petrarca tried to burst away, was prevented from doing so, and now Took Miller lays a tackle at ground level over the top of John Newcomb. Another ball up on the corner of the square, right half forward for the Suns. Here is Connor Nash tracking the footy. Doesn't get an overly kind bounce, but did enough to work it into the path of a teammate. Here's Josh Ward, who's been prominent. Got a man on the outside in Dalton, uses him. Losing his footing was Collins, allowed Lewis in, but he was unable to take the mark. Overrun by McDonald. They can stream it out of defence here. Miller, Rioli, Petrarca, Rioli again. Stripped of the footy. Newcomb comes up with it. Gives it to McGuinness. Forward handball to Ward. Now Connor McDonald's on the fly. Wobbles it through. It wasn't the most attractive goal you'll ever see, but it was effective. And Hawthorn are dominating the Gold Coast Suns here in Launceston. Connor McDonald gets his first, and Hawthorn move to 9-6-60, leading the Gold Coast 2-2-14. 16 and a half gone in this second term. It's Saturday footy for ABC Sport. Chris Rowbottom, Michael Maney, Cal Sinclair and Matthew Knights.
Yeah, defensively Hawthorn are so switched on to the run and handball game of the Gold Coast today. Every time off half back, when Rioli and Noble, when they want to go, Hawthorn just ambush them in tackle, tipping them over, and then they're coming back aggressively the other way. And yeah, defensively they've really come to play today, the Hawks.
Just not getting enough of the ball. The Suns disposals 173 to 114.
Yep.
That's a mauling. Back in the centre, Andrew into the ruck, but over the top was Reeves, picked up by Graham for Gold Coast. Kicks long, inside 50, it's only shallow. Scrimshaw attacked the footy. Jamari Ugelhagen played for the free kick, nothing doing. Impey just a little wobbler down the line. Noble almost took it out, then got it back to Rogers. Rogers underground handball to Zeke Newland, to Graham, who was caught by Watson. He got his kick away, nicely done. Here's Rogers again, little short kick. Dear! Takes the mark, the intercept in front of Weller. Now to Weddle. Weddle kicks it out wide, and that's going to be a lasso, and that will be a free kick to the Gold Coast, Jed Walter.
It's nothing from the Gold Coast is there today. Just they don't seem connected in any part of the ground at the moment. The defence, they're all flying. Their midfielders aren't getting enough of the ball.
So Walter pumps it inside and all on his own. Cowshed floated back into defence.
And the Gold Coast forwards can't get an opportunity.
Takes an uncontested mark, which is interesting indeed, given the quality that is down there. Cowshed just sends it back toward the near wing. Mac Andrews sets himself underneath it. Got hands to it, couldn't quite reel it in. Handball came out to Graham. Now Walter, who is fighting hard, did. The defender gave it to McGuinness. Not a great position. It's hacked out of mid-air into the Gold Coast defensive zone. Wizard Watson lurking. He couldn't quite make it work for himself. Dan Rioli arrives on the scene for the Suns, mops it up and then flares it out wide to Zeke Hewland. He's just back of a wing on the outer side. He's going to take stock for just a moment and then poke a short ball with the left boot. Matt Rowell had to make it work. Brownlow medalist was good enough to reel it in. Use Hewland, who's running on the outside. Now strokes the ball inside 50 on the left, looking for the target in Reid. Had it knocked it away from him. Screwing ball inside from Rogers. Standing tall was Impey. Knocked out of his hands. Mark not paid. Newcomb at ground level. Weddle applies the tackle. Here's Morrison taken by Weller. Ball spills out. And then it's dragged back in and locked in. 35 metres out from Gold Coast goal. 9-6-60. Another Hawks 2-2-14. The Suns out of the stoppage. Here comes Long, trying to burst through and make something happen. Just pumps a handball into open space. Who can pounce on the loose footy? Lombard could. Tackled as he did so. Spills out to Weddle, who just puts a little shimmy on his opponent. Pumps it beyond defensive 50, but standing tall in a good spot is Bodie Hewland, who takes the relieving mark, and the Gold Coast can go again.
Well judged by Hewland, goes inboard to Mac Andrew. Andrew goes right into the centre square to Noble. So they're trying to straighten things up here, the Gold Coast. He kicks a long spearing ball. Scrimshaw couldn't quite. Here's Humphrey, gets a handball away. Weller's snapped goal. They've got their third. It's taken them quite a while. There's the Ugle-Hagen goal. When was that? Goodness me, back in the at the 26-minute mark of the first term. But Gold Coast Suns have got it. They straightened it up. Noble did well. 3-2-20. And the Hawks 9-6-60. It's a 40-point margin.
Yeah, they were just able to find a short mark, the Gold Coast. They changed the angle about 70 metres out. They went to the top of the square. Scrimshaw actually showed great courage for the Hawks. Went back with a flight, but front and square Weller, and they produced a good goal inside 50.
Just watching Mac Andrew now. It looks like he's going to potentially take the centre bounce.
Yeah, they had a look at this last game, Cal. Late in the game, he played ruck and did a good job of it. So, Hardwick's gone to it much earlier, and they probably have to because it's desperate times for them right now.
Up it goes, back into the middle. Can they string a couple together here, the Suns? They fight after it. Noah Anderson got his handball out to Greengrass, where Rao was able to pounce on it, and now Rioli off the back of the square. Gathered the loose footy, shared it with Humphreys, and they go to left half forward here, the Suns. Bouncing ball, there's a free kick here. It's going to go the way of the Suns. Jamara is going to have a look at things. So tight-ish angle is about 10 metres in from the boundary line at left half forward for the Gold Coast. And if he opts to have a ping at the big sticks, he'll do so from about 52 metres out. So this will be a test. One on the afternoon does Jamara in his comeback game. This would be a team lifter. On the left boot, sends it goalward. Looked okay off the boot. It's going to just float across the face. It won't score. They scramble in after it at ground level. D'Ambrosio, now Meek, shared it with Impey. Forward handball now, looking for space. Did it just go over the line inside the attacking 50? I think it did. So that'll mean it's a ball in. Still 45 metres out from Gold Coast goal.
It's going to be hard to judge those decisions, isn't it, as the season goes on and games get more serious with final spots on the line.
40 points the margin in favour of Hawthorn from the ball up. Mackenzie extracts it, goes this way, that way. Little handball, wasn't all that flash, and he was being tackled as that happened, and is a free kick to Christian Petrarca. And Petrarca will shoot from about 40 metres out on an angle in front of the big scoreboard, kicking to the left of your radio dial to the Invermay end for a couple in a few minutes for the Gold Coast.
I actually like the decision, Nida, to put Mac Andrew in the centre bounce, because Meek and Ned Reeves have certainly got Witts' measure in there today.
Yeah, I think it's just something a bit different. I mean, it's a little bit what the Tigers did with Bolter early in the game last night, just trying to get a little bit more stuff around the ground, a little bit more activity with handballs and kicks, and we'll see if it works.
10-4 on the season for Petrarca, and he's made a bit of a meal of that. Up they fly, no one can take the mark. And it's right at the top of the square. Gold Coast in attack, and the umpire calls for it.
So chance here for the Suns. Can they string together consecutive goals for the first time this afternoon? They're trying to lock it in. Big tackle applied. I think it was Lombard who brought down the man mountain in Meek. Another ball up, 10 metres out from the Gold Coast goal. Can Long pounce on a loose footy? He can. Beautiful ruck work into the path of Ben Long. He snaps around the body. Gold Coast have 2 in a row. And can Ben Long play igniter here in Launceston? 9-6-60 Hawthorn. Gold Coast got a 4-2-26. 24 minutes gone. Second term. Saturday footy for ABC Sport.
Yeah, the Gold Coast were able to repay the favour what Hawthorn did to them at the other end earlier. They used the defensive side of the stoppage in forward 50, and Long was able to create some space for himself and got onto his preferred right foot. And in the end, for someone like Long, it was probably a reasonably conventional shot on goal from about 15-20 out and snapped right in front.
And Lloyd Meek would be pretty dirty on himself, allowing Witts to just palm that ball right into the middle of the inside 50 position. And it's just amazing what happens when you're a smaller midfielder and you hit that with pace. It's very hard to stop. So it was a great ruck effort from Joe Witts.
9-6-60 to 4-2-26 in favour of Hawthorn. Witts tried to take it out of the ruck and then just kicked a real high ball, which was marked by D'Ambrosio. D'Ambrosio with that left foot finds Meek, just stretched too far for Rioli, and the handball was straight to Witts. That was interesting. Right in between a couple of players, and it fell to Witts, and I'm not really quite sure what Big Lloyd was thinking there.
He had Jack Ginnivan out. I could see the appeal, but yeah, it's just his execution.
Here's Newcomb, just roved it off the top, kicks long, Deers there, knocked away by Andrew. Roving it is Noble, just backs into a tackler. Bodie Hewlin got it by hand to Anderson to Rowell. Rowell's kick is a real up and under ball. Meek's going to take this, and he does. He'll look for a handball again, Willie. Decides to run off, kicks a real high up and under. Up they fly. Bodie Hewlin flew a little early. Reed, nice handball back to Anderson. Anderson on his left boot. Good looking kick to find Graham. That's a good kick. He ducks back inboard. He has a bounce. Now decides the handball to Petrarca. Graham kept running right on 50. This will be a great goal if he can thread it. And he can't. Pushed it away to the right. 4-3-27 Gold Coast. Hawthorn 9-6-60.
So it's just starting to open things up a little bit in the back half of this second term. A former Sun in Jack Scrimshaw takes a bounce out of fullback. His kick is misguided though. Straight into the chest of John Noble. They'll have another chance here. Here's Jamara. 55 from goal, onto his left boot, just pops it up to a dangerous place. Wanted Ben King, couldn't take the mark. Long was taken off the footy. Handball into the shoelaces of Ward. Now Scrimshaw, back to Hardwick. He gets it onto his right, kicks beyond defensive 50, and outworking his man was Mitch Lewis. Just nudged Collins underneath the foot. He's got something on the near side. It's Dalton streaming forward. It's a beautiful kick. Dalton marks, goes, sends a ball goalward. It's bouncing and over for a minor score only. And that would have been an amazing piece of transition footy from the Hawks. They were able to pull it off, but the second gamer unable to convert, a minor score. 9-7-61 go Hawthorn, 4-3-27 the Suns.
I mentioned Ben King a moment ago, which hardly called him, have we? He's just not been in the game at all. And the way that ball's coming in for Gold Coast, you can understand why.
Life's tough for him down there at the moment.
Here's Rioli from half back to the run of Noble, his running partner. And now Jamara, starting his hands on the footy. Jamara goes long, looking for Long. He can't take the mark. One grab, two. Butted up beautifully. Got caught. No free kick. Shallow 50 right in front of the scoreboard. Ball up. 9-7-61 Hawthorn, 4-3-27 the Suns. Up it goes. Meek knocked it down. Mackenzie might be an over the shoulder here to Witts, is it? No, it's a free kick to Rowell off the footy. So Matthew Rowell goes in short, battle. Jamara Ugle-Hagan was the target. Here's Rogers, he's nippy, and then goes the kick and misses everything. And the umpire says, throw it in, boys. 9-7-61 Hawthorn. The Suns 4-3-27.
Yeah, Rao was looking to place a ball sort of inside that 30 or 40. He had King at the top of the square, which may have been the better option to give the big man a bit of a look at it. Sydney hasn't touched it much.
Still inside Gold Coast attacking zone. Rucks go at it. Amon's at the fall. Squirts out the back to Noah Anderson, who just tried to knock it into the path of Zeke Ueland. He gathered cleanly, kicked it to the top of the square. Lunging was Jamara Ugle-Hagan. He couldn't quite reel it in. It eluded his fingertips and went over the boundary line in the left forward pocket. So still a chance here, the Suns.
I get the feeling the Suns have got a little bit of something going. They just need to reward themselves for the goal.
They are pressing indeed. Flung in over the umpire's head. King does the ruck work, gets to the front, tried to kick a goal off his own work, unable to do so. Handball out the back now to Hardwick, who clears defensive 50 for the Hawks. There's a wall of Suns. Will Powell is amongst it. He didn't take the mark, went and gathered the footy, and he's reeled in by Finn McGuinness. Playing the tackle. Umpire said, well, I'll have it, please. No prior opportunity, according to the ump on the scene, much to the chagrin of the Hawthorn faithful here in Launceston. Over the fingertips of Meek. They both missed it, the ruckman. Here's Newcomb surging away from the stoppage. Shares it by hand now to Gunston, who's a long way from home. Kick deep into attack where it was over the head of Cowshadir. The Wizards on the scene. Was he taken high as he went to ground by Ueland? I think it was beautifully executed, the tackle. And the umpire agreed. He did just fling the head back a little bit, did Wizard, as he got low. But Ueland stopped him in his tracks. From the stoppage, off the ground by Gunston. It would have been something special. It's over for a minor score. So they add one to the tally to the Hawks, 9-8-62. Gold Coast 4-3-27. In from full-back. The kick is butchered. Chance here now for the Hawks. Newcomb evaded a tackler. His handball's picked off. Miller, Anderson goes inside, then outside. Impey got a hand to it. They work it out through defence here, the Suns. Not out of jail yet, though. Petrarca was the target of the Anderson handball, and now he has to play tackler as Ginnivan arrives on the scene. He brings him to a halt in the middle of York Park. We'll have a ball up.
It's a great defensive effort there from Ginnivan. He read it on the fat side, emptied out really quickly. Doesn't get a stat, but just holds up play.
5 goals to 2 to Hawthorn in this quarter. Newcomb got it from Impey. He's on the wing. Kicks it high. Deer's got a fly. Mac Andrew was there with a fist and did it nicely. What a matchup that is. Athleticism off the Richter scale there, those two.
Yeah, two budding young players, both defensive and attacking players. So you're going to see them have great duels for many, many years ahead.
Has the Wizard got Cyril covered for pace, Nida?
Well, I don't know about that. Cyril was pretty slick in his day, but he's electric just live here at the moment.
Ball in dispute taken by Miller. Got it to Anderson by hand to Petrarca. There's some good play there. Petrarca kicks long. Barras gets back. Didn't take the mark. Ugle-Hagan's hovering. So too long. Ball flicks out. Nice little snap by Humphrey. And the Gold Coast get yet another. Bailey Humphrey over the left shoulder. And they've got a bit of something going here, the Suns. They move to 5-3-33. Hawthorn 9-8-62. We've gone 31 and a half minutes in the second term, and the Gold Coast get their third for the quarter.
Well, they've just got a bit of a pulse, don't they, Nida? They're finding probably a few more one-on-one equalised contests going inside 50, where it's probably the first, I guess, call it quarter and a half. They were kicking to sort of, 15, 16 Hawthorn guys going inside 50. So ball's hit the ground a few times. King's not getting rewarded a lot for his efforts. Jed Walters is competing hard, but the guys at ground level, they're finishing at the moment.
Yeah, they're just equalising the numbers a little bit better head of the ball and getting some, as you said, some good isolation.
Shadows of half-time. Hawthorn by 29 points. Meek out of the ruck, tried to shoot it back to Newcomb. Now it's Anderson, though. Just scrambles the ball inside 50. Another chance here for the Suns. Ben Long around the corner. It clears the goal line, and the Suns fans at the Invermay end wave the flags. He kicks his second with 3 seconds remaining on the clock. The Gold Coast Suns are back in town as they cut the margin back to 23 points. 9-8-62 Hawthorn lead Gold Coast 6-3-39. They are resurgent here at York Park.
Yeah, it's been the last 5 or 6 minutes. It's been a terrific assault from the Gold Coast Suns, been able to get inside 50 very quickly, and then the smalls are the ones that have done the damage. You know, Long, Took Miller, Bailey Humphrey are all starting to look a little bit more dangerous at the fall of the ball, which in direct makes Impey and Eamon a bit more accountable. So it's a nice 5 or 6 minutes here for the Gold Coast.
Hasn't been this close since early in the term. Hawthorn led by 21 points, but they pulled away. Back in the centre, Meek knocked it down. Mackenzie, little high. Siren goes. It's half time at York Park, and the Gold Coast booting goals at the 24, or at the 20, 24, 31 and 32 minute marks. They've got it back to 23 points. They trailed by 46 at the 16.5 minute mark of that term, but they've pulled it back. So at half time, Hawthorn 9-8-62, the Suns 6-3-39. It's goal kickers. Chris, I'll roll through and you can correct me if I'm wrong. For Hawthorn, Gunston has 3, and then singles to Lewis, Impey, Watson, Connor McDonald, D'Ambrosio and McGuinness. And for the Gold Coast Suns, 2 players have 2, Ben Long and Lockie Weller, and then singles to Bailey Humphrey and Jamara Ugle-Hagan. And they are the goal scorers for the Gold Coast Suns as they walk from the ground, and they'd be pretty happy with the last part of that second quarter, Matthew Knights.
Yeah, they would be. I mean, I think Hawthorn, from a perspective of the game, they dominated probably 45 minutes of that first half, or 50 minutes of the first half, and were clearly the better team. Defensively, they were really on. Their tackle pressure was enormous, and then Amon, Impey, Massimo, those guys were really penetrating with their run and carry and their beautiful foot skills. But in that last 10-15 minutes, Witt started to get his hand on a little bit more. We brought Rowell into it a little bit more. And then the smalls up front got a look at it. If King and Walter and Reid can now start to pluck a few, well, then they might be able to add a different dimension. But I think they've made it a game at least. So it gives Damien Hardwick something to talk about at half-time in regards to how that looked in the last 10 minutes. And we do have a game on our hands in the second half, albeit I think Hawthorn are still really much in the driver's seat in this game, the way they're playing their football, and I think they'll just get back to what they were doing early in the game.
Well, there's a pulse for the Gold Coast Suns, isn't there, really, after that last 10 minutes. But I think Damien Hardwick would say, guys, if we're a chance to actually win this game, we've got to win this next quarter. But back on the forward line for the Gold Coast Suns, you know, King, Ugle-Hagan and Walter, like it's been a tough day for them thus far. Disposal and efficiency by the Gold Coast midfield and how it's kind of coming out of their defence, it's just been a bit sloppy. So they're probably making efforts up the ground. They've seen missed handballs happen. The emptying out of the Hawthorn forwards has actually been pretty good. So with all due respect to the key forwards in the Gold Coast Suns, it's probably really hard for them at the moment because there's no real consistency and connection. They got their way back into this game, albeit there's still a significant lead by Hawthorn, but they, I guess, got themselves with a pulse back in that game just by a bit of grind nighter. Just get it in there, get a contest. Let's just hunt the ball at ground level. So yeah, it'd just be interesting to see how they attack it. I wouldn't be panic stations if I was Hawthorn. I think you'd be a little bit disappointed with a few of their efforts, I guess, with their disposal towards the back half of that quarter. But as you've said, Nida, you would have to go in and say it has been a positive first half for Hawthorn, and overall they're in the driver's seat.
The voice of Callum Sinclair, Saturday Footy for ABC Sport, alongside Matthew Knights, myself, Chris Robot, and Michael Maney, and Andrew Cooling on the boundary. The first of 4 matches today, of course. The big one at the MCG a little later this afternoon, Essendon and Collingwood. Then it's Port Adelaide, Geelong, Freo and Carlton out west. Hawthorn led by 46 points midway through the second term. Gold Coast kicked 4 in a row to cut the margin down to 23 points, and that's where we leave things at the major break here in Launceston. Hawthorn 9-8-62 leading the Gold Coast Suns 6-3-39. They are 23 points to the good. We're going to take a short break from here in Launceston. We'll go to the ABC newsroom and be back on the other side.
ABC News, I'm Eliza Getzi. Anzac Day services are wrapping up around the country with tens of thousands of people showing their respects for Australia's servicemen and women. Sophie Holder has more.
Up to 35,000 people gathered at the War Memorial in Canberra for the National Dawn service, with commemorations in the capital to conclude with a last post ceremony at the War Memorial. In Sydney, authorities estimate about 10,000 service members participated in this year's Anzac Day parade. Meanwhile, in Adelaide, a service was also held at the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander War Memorial. About 30,000 people attended Kings Park in Perth for a day of solemn reflection and gratitude. People braved the weather in Brisbane while a wreath-laying ceremony is taking place outside the Shrine of Remembrance in Melbourne after the Anzac Day March.
A ceremony is currently underway at dawn in Gallipoli. Victoria Police is working to identify the protesters who disrupted the Anzac Day dawn service at Melbourne's Shrine of Remembrance. A small group in the 50,000-strong crowd booed during Uncle Mark Brown's Welcome to Country address, and then later when the Victorian Governor, Margaret Gardner, made the acknowledgement. The hecklers left before the service ended. Rod Salan was at the dawn service with his family, and he decided to confront the hecklers when things got emotional.
I thought that I would stand in. It's time to step up and sort of be a voice and start shutting these people down and basically nicely to shut their mouths, just to shut up, leave it alone for 2 hours of the day, just let it rest.
Premier Jacinta Allen says politicising what she calls a sacred day is bastardry, while the RSL described those involved as weak-minded individuals. Opposition leader Angus Taylor says Anzac Day is an opportunity to honour those who have served, suffered and sacrificed in wars and military operations. In a pre-recorded message, Mr Taylor has paid tribute to Private Francis John MacDonald, a soldier who was killed in France in World War I and was from Mr Taylor's hometown of Nimidabel in New South Wales. He says it's important to remember those who fell for the sake of Australians' freedoms.
In remembering our fallen, in reaching into the past, we remind ourselves of who we are as Australians. We recall the best qualities that define us and the standards we strive towards. To serve, not to take. To stand together, not apart.
Overseas, it's not clear if a renewed round of peace talks between the US and Iran will go ahead in Pakistan, where mediators are continuing their efforts to broker communications between the two sides. Emily Grimmins has more from Washington.
Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has already landed in Islamabad. He's on what's been described as a regional tour, and officials had said that as part of that tour he would participate in talks on the latest proposals to bring the war to an end. Now today the White House announced that President Donald Trump would dispatch his son-in-law Jared Kushner and his special envoy Steve Witkoff to Pakistan. The pair are set to travel tomorrow morning local time. There is no confirmation from the Iranian side of direct talks. In fact, a foreign ministry spokesperson said Abbas Araghchi will not be meeting with the US team.
Britain's former ambassador to Washington is being investigated by the European Union's anti-fraud agency after the release of emails from Peter Mandelson's time as business secretary appear to show he shared sensitive official information with the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The BBC's Katya Adler has more.
The European Commission asked the EU's anti-fraud agency, known by its French acronym OLAF, to investigate Lord Mandelson back in February. It's now told the BBC it has sufficient information to launch a formal investigation. With the case still open, the spokesperson for the office said they couldn't divulge further details. OLAF is also expected to look at exchanges with Epstein during Lord Mandelson's time as Trade Commissioner.
Meanwhile, documents and photos of Jeffrey Epstein and US President Donald Trump have been projected onto the Hilton building in Washington, D.C., the night before the White House Correspondents' Dinner Gala. Mr. Trump is expected to attend the dinner after previously boycotting the event while serving as president. He's been mentioned numerous times in the Epstein files, but there's no indication of wrongdoing. And the MCG will host the traditional Anzac Day clash between Essendon and Collingwood this afternoon as the AFL world comes together to honour Australia's servicemen and women. Earlier in the day in Launceston, third-placed Hawthorn host the Gold Coast, who sit fifth on the ladder. ABC News.
There's no doubt that country music is bigger than ever right now. Join me, Outback Tom, as I get you around the artists that are blazing a trail. Listen to Country Club, Sunday night at 6 on ABC Country or anytime you like on the ABC Listen app.
This is Anzac Day Footy
with ABC Sport.
Josh Ward in the middle of York Park. He released it to Wimpy, who kept on running. Just arched the back, gets onto his right, flying shot on goal. That is one of the goals of the season from Jarman Impey. Like a flash through the middle of Launceston. He nails it from 50.
So they're trying to straighten things up here, the Gold Coast. He kicks a long spearing ball. Scrimshaw couldn't quite. Here's Humphrey, gets a handball away. Weller's snap, goal. They've got their third.
Another ball up, 10 metres out from the Gold Coast goal. Can Long pounce on a loose footy? He can. Beautiful ruck work into the path of Ben Long. He snaps around the body. Gold Coast have 2 in a row. And can Ben Long play igniter here in Launceston?
Anzac Day Footy on ABC Local Radio, Sport Digital and on ABC Listen.
Hawthorn led by 46 points midway through the second term over the Gold Coast Suns before the Suns rattled off 4 in a row to close out the quarter and slash the margin back to 23 points at the main break. They came off the boot of Ben Long, as you just heard, Bailey Humphrey and Lockie Weller. Ben Long kicked 2 of those 4 to give the Gold Coast Suns a puncher's chance going into half-time here in Launceston. Score for you, 9-8-62 the Hawks, Gold Coast 6-3-39. And as mentioned, the Hawks led by as many as 46 points midway through that second term. Entertaining game of footy here in Launceston. It's the first of 4 on Anzac Day. Of course, a little later in the afternoon, Essendon and Collingwood from the MCG, the traditional big Anzac Day clash, and then a couple of night fixtures for you. Port Adelaide and Geelong from the Adelaide Oval, Fremantle and Carlton from Perth out west. A couple of games already played, of course, so far this round. Back on Thursday, the Western Bulldogs going down to Sydney by 66 points as that injury crisis rolls on at Whitten Oval. And then last night, the Anzac Day Eve clash was played out between Melbourne and Richmond, and it was the D's getting over the Tigers by 54 points, which included a Keziah Pickett hanger late in the game, which is very, very good to see. Not too far away from getting back underway here in Launceston for Hawthorn and the Gold Coast top 4 clash unfolding here at York Park. Chris Rowbottom with you on the play-by-play. Michael Maney, Matthew Knights and Callum Sinclair. Cal, what were your sort of takeaways out of the first half, and what sort of magnet moves would you be making if you were Damien Hardwick downstairs at the moment, or was the second half of that second quarter somewhere closer to where the Suns want to be?
Well, it wasn't even the second half for the Suns. I think all 4 goals for the Suns came during the time-on period. So they won contested possession 19-10, inside 50 entries 8-4 during that period. So they kind of fought their way back with the pulse really in probably 6 or 7 minutes. In terms of some moves, if I was Damien Hardwick, I'd probably be having a conversation to his team about how hard do we actually want to squeeze the ground? Could we be a little bit more balanced and controlled with how we set up? Because I think what happens is once they've had the turnover, Hawthorn have been out and they've had basically 3/4 of the ground all to themselves. And we know what Nick Watson's doing when he's getting some time and space out the back. Like, his reaction time is significant and very, very dangerous. I'd be thinking that they actually made a magnet move. They put Mac Andrew in the ruck and gave Jay Ritz a spell. To be honest, I thought Jay Ritz was pretty disappointing that first half. Don't get me wrong, he's got a very, very challenging task with Meek and Reeves, who are 2 brutes of men, and I guess one of the 2 best ruckmen in the competition. But they need a physical presence from him. I say that to Anderson as well. And Anderson's had a fair bit of the footy. He's had 19 possessions. Noble's had 15 as well. So, but what impact are they having physically? Because at the moment, there is still a substantial lead that Hawthorn have got. And Hawks, it was a great first half. That time on period just wasn't good enough. They didn't squeeze the ground enough and didn't get back in time in their defensive end of the ground to actually help out. So I just think they need to get their hands on the footy. Basically, the team's stats disposals wise, 208 to 80. So the Suns fought their way back a little bit, but for a period there, they just couldn't get their hands on the ball. So they fought back with probably 5-6 minutes to go.
Anderson did get rolling in that second term as well. He has 19 touches to half-time. Does Noah Anderson. Jarman Impey next best for the Hawks with 16, and Newcomb has 15. But I'm not sure about you, Matthew Knights, but not sure that Noah Anderson, he's had the 19, but has he warranted the move of Finn McGuinness in as tagger, do you think, in this second half?
Well, the Hawks were really happy to go head-to-head with the Gold Coast midfield early in the game, and Finn McGuinness actually come off the bench and played on the wing. So I think the Hawks midfield group would be reasonably happy with that first half, albeit Anderson got a lot of touches, probably between sort of defensive sort of 40 and 70, and then you're able to impact a little bit through the back of the square. But I think the Hawks will back their system in. Connor Nash sort of plays that quasi run with that stoppage, and then in transition he probably does a little bit of his own thing. So he does a little bit of that anyway, so I think they'll continue to go with him. But I think all in all, if you're coming here today, you would think, well, if the Hawks can match him on the inside, they're probably going to win the game, and I think they've more than done that in the first half. And you know, you look at Petrarca, you look at Rao, you look at Anderson, you look at Touk Miller, you look at Jared Witts. That's as star-studded as you can get.
Good players.
So I think the Hawks would be pretty happy with their work inside the midfield group at this stage.
I would also say, you know, it's probably a hard one to coach, Nida, but if you're the Gold Coast Suns, guys, let's clean up our disposal. Like, we've got a pretty good forward line. You saw Ugle-Hagan probably towards the back half of that quarter look actually pretty good coming up higher up the ground. Walters is competing. He's flying for a lot of marks. Probably could have taken a couple, but I just feel like their ball movement has been really, really patchy. So, you know, no player goes out there to make skill errors, but if they can just take their time and be a little bit cleaner, it'll just give them forwards a chance, because what they're doing, they're actually making a move. They're making a first lead. Call out of position, fumble, drop mark, poor handball. And next thing you know, when they actually do win the ball, their forwards are caught out of position. So probably a hard one to sort of coach. They don't mean to do it, but I think they're better than what they are.
The voice of Callum Sinclair on ABC Sport. It is Saturday footy, Anzac Day footy from Launceston, Hawthorn and the Gold Coast Suns. You can join the conversation too. 0437 774 774 is the text line. Would love to hear from you from wherever you're listening from. Nida, Jamara Ugle-Hagan's first half, he kicked the goal, he pushed up, he presented, he had a second shot on goal as well. What have you made of his comeback game so far?
No, all in all, I think he's looked at the level. I mean, he's come off VFL form, but we know he has got history in the AFL and a good history. So I think he's looked at the level. I really do. I like his movement. I like his agility. And as we've said, the ball going inside 50 hasn't been spot on at this particular stage. So I think all he's got to continue to do is make a contest, particularly because Humphrey and Long are starting to look dangerous. And as Cal said, if they can clean up a little bit of that precise ball movement coming through the square, guys like Ugle-Hagan and Walter and King will get a better look at it. So all in all, I think you'd be really pleased with his effort thus far, and I think you know he's got a really good capacity to grow from here in the coming weeks. Not only in the coming weeks, in this second half, but I mean, we've probably all seen enough today to suggest he's going to be a good player at the level for the rest of the year.
I'd be encouraging to get out the ground and, you know, try and go for your marks out on the wing. You know, use your work rate and your forward craft on the way back. I think as a forward, I guess, when you want to get into the game and you're a little bit nervous, you tend to kind of retreat sort of back to goal. I'd say to him, don't worry about that. Let's get some touches up the ground, because on the way back, a little bit like Jeremy Cameron, he's actually very crafty and can put himself in position to find space.
He looks fit as well. So he's had the one goal so far this afternoon, 5 disposals, and he's taken the 3 marks. So I think that's somewhere around the mark for Jamara in his comeback game. Remembering he hasn't played AFL footy for 596 days, 5 in the VFL, of course, last week. Just good to see him out there first and foremost. So players in their huddles about to break and make their way back out onto the field and into their positions. Hawthorn hold a 23-point lead here in Launceston over Gold Coast. They're 9-8-62, playing the Suns 6-3-39. The Suns rattled off 4 in a row in time on in that second term to cut the margin, which was originally 46 points midway through the second term. Nida, you're leaving us a little early this afternoon to zip back down to Hobart for the Devils VFL clash against Carlton tonight. What can we expect at Bellerive Oval?
Oh, well, look, what we can expect is probably a crowd of around about 12 or 13,000. 10,000 tickets were sold midweek. We're 3-0 in the VFL. We've made a stellar start to the year. I think Carlton they've had a tough week, and maybe you've got a few injuries as well. So, but they've still got 12 listed players and guys like George Hewitt and that running around and Boyd in the VFL. So, an exciting night. We've started great, and we'd love to go 4-0 come this evening.
I saw a Nida in the hallway offer Ned Boyle a lift down the highway to just take him for a drive and show him the sights. And there might be a spare room at Nida's joint.
He'll have to wrestle Max Hapley out of the role as the starting ruck. He's been pretty good.
He's Lloyd Meek and Ned Reeves, mate.
Max has certainly been excellent to start the year. He's done a good job, and Cal's going to do his best to get any little bit of information out of me between now and the end of the year, and if he keeps going, he might get something.
I think that might be a referral fee.
Yeah. Looking for a ruck coach.
Actually, there you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
Tough climate out there at the moment.
Here we go. Second half. Hawthorn by 23. Gold Coast go into attack, and the floating ball is marked by Battle. Battle goes in short. That's okay. Finds Newcomb. Battle kept running, just fed it off to him as he goes past down the outer side wing. Real up and under kick. Mac Andrews in position A here and takes the mark. Poor kick in the end by Battle. Just kicked it to what he thought was a contest, but Mac Andrew marked unopposed. His kick is excellent. Finds Petrarca. Quick handball ball away to Miller. Miller kicks long. Lombard is hovering. He flies. Beautiful. Fist away by Barris, running with the flight and knocked it to the line. Lombard was in great position to take that, but Barris just flicked it over the line.
I know it's Jamara's first game, but if I was him, I'd be absolutely filthy. He was out, took Miller, had a clear sight of him. Just a short, dinky 20-metre kick, and Jamara's having a shot on goal.
Boundary throw in, Suns in attack, right forward pocket. Up goes King in the ruck, can't take it with him. Off the ground, Lombard hit the posts.
I think he socketed that through Barrass's legs. Yeah. I don't know. I think he did, and Barrass wasn't sure.
I think Barrass knew too. He's like, oh God, yeah.
What's just happened there? Really opportunist. If he had taken that, it would have been great for the Suns. Great tonic for them.
Call that the nutmeg in the world game. Amon plays it in on out of full-back to Scrimshaw, who goes for a little gallop and then retreats back to Amon, who's got a paddock in front of him inside D50, takes a bounce, and now the short is on to Ginnivan, who marks right on the paint of defensive 50. He comes a little wider now to D'Ambrosio. They work it around the line here, do the Hawks. Up the line now to Nick Watson. He hands off by hand back to D'Ambrosio, who kept on running.
Great
Get up kick to Mitch Lewis, who spies something he likes in the middle of the ground. Jack Ginnivan's made good ground, and he takes the chest mark, about 75 from goal. There's two kicks from the goal mouth. He's going to go wider to Blake Hardwick. He's out on centre wing, outer side. Pokes a short ball into Connor McDonald now at right half forward. Deliberate build up here from the Hawks. Sees something he likes, a one-on-one, Cowshadir and Mac Andrew. And Cowshadir is going to be pinged for holding Mac Andrew. Gives away the free kick, and Andrew is the recipient. He immediately looks back across goal. Bites off the kick to Will Powell, who's waiting in the back pocket. And he tries to pick the eyes out of one, and he does so pretty well. Brody Hewlin got in front of D'Ambrosio. Marked it right half back for the Suns. So a little bit of slow possession footy from both teams to start this third term. He spies Weller. Marks in front of the interchange benches, gets on with it. Right foot ball up to right half forward for the Suns. Big fly over the back, Jamara. Welcome back, young man. A great contested mark, and now a pretty nice squaring ball too to Bailey Humphrey. And that is what the #1 draft pick is capable of. A big grab and then a beautiful pass, and Bailey Humphrey looks like he fancies himself here. There's Humphrey. He'll kick from about 52 metres out, directly in front. It'll take something pretty nice indeed, but he's a young man that is capable. Bailey Humphrey, one on the afternoon. He was part of that comeback in the second quarter Let's fly from just outside 50. Never looked like missing from Bailey Humphrey. And the Suns are on a heater to start the second half. They cut the margin back to just 17 points. 9-8-62 are the Hawks. Gold Coast 7-4-46. And it's game on here in Launceston. Saturday footy for ABC Sport.
Just the productivity you get off a contested mark that Ugelhagen took was just excellent. After any contested mark, you will then find the Hawthorn defence is very high, and they flooded back. He was able to then square the ball up to 50, top of 50, and Bailey Humphrey made it with ease. It was a beautiful set shot from 55 metres out.
And they flooded back into the back pocket, Nida as well, and that's crafty left footer, turns corridor side, and there was a big opening there, so probably Hawthorn would be disappointed they didn't structurally set up to cut that off.
Nothing wrong with left footers, mate.
No, they're good.
Back in the centre, Reeves got it down and then roves it again. Kicks a really high ball. Who can take the mark? Collins with the big thump away. It's a centre half forward for Hawthorn. In they go. Noble ridden into the ground. Umpire said, give it to me. Ginnivan, quiet day for him. 5 possessions so far in this game, Jack Ginnivan. So he needs to get back in. 4 kicks and a handball. Away goes Reed. Handball away to Weller. Weller's handball over the top to Rowell. This is good running by the Suns. Miller kicks it up and under. Impey just got spun around. Couldn't take the mark. In goes Morrison. Lombard was there. Tracked it beautifully. Hits the ground. Caught underneath. Umpire will ball it up. We've gone 5.5 in the third term. Hawthorn 9-8-62. Gold Coast back in this 7-4-46.
Well and truly back in the ball game. Got the ascendancy. Newcomb with the stiff arm. Emerges from the stoppage. Shares it with Morrison on the outside. He flares it by hand to D'Ambrosio just in front of the interchange benches. He moves it forward to Connor Nash by hand. He kicks to a one-on-one inside 50. There's a free kick here. It's going to go the way of Mitch Lewis. No, it's not. Sam Collins, the recipient. So Mitch Lewis doing some holding on, according to the umpire. Back in defence to Will Powell. And now Mac Andrew as they transition the footy to the left back pocket. Andrew just holds it up, gets on his bike and then thumps it beyond defensive 50 for the Suns. Out to the outer side, Pat forms off hands. Amon's at the fall, unable to gather it. Falls into the hands of Ginnivan. Somehow got it out to Weddle. He breaks the line of 50, kicks toward goal, juggled over the line here by Deer. And the umpire makes his way in. They might have a look at this potentially.
You can tell by Deer's body language. He's not hanging around.
So this is going to be a score review. They check it upstairs to see if the mark was completed before the ball went over the line. The soft call is a behind. And I think that's where things are going to remain as we have a look at the replay. It's sort of juggled over by Kaushadir. So decision pending. Up it comes. And it is indeed a minor score to the Hawks.
Josh Weddle, I think, accredited with that. So that score line 9-9-63 to 7-4-46. The kick out. Bodie Hewland found space in front of Lewis and marks at half back. Just assesses things. A little bit stagnant at the moment, the Suns. He runs off the line, kicks to a packed situation. Reeves can't get it amongst it, but then knocked it down. Weller roved it beautifully at the front of the pack. Handball was a bit loose. Amon under pressure. Got the handball to Battle. Battle's handball, I thought was meant for Amon, but went to Impey. Now Impey's kick is okay. Finds Ward. Ward still at half back. Little short kick. Too much for McDonald over his head. Powell. Lovely spearing kick finds King at centre half forward. And King will get his first real crack at something here up forward, and he'll shoot from 40 out directly in front.
It was a counter-attack that really come from a Hawthorn error. They were going through. Amon was a beautiful kick inside 50, and Connor McDonald actually just juggled the ball and spilt it, and Gold Coast were able to sweep away and then find King. This would be enormous for his belief today if he could put this one home.
Got all the zeros in front of him at the moment, Ben King. Shot at goal is perfect. He's got it. When he's shooting at goal, no problem at all. That margin is creeping back. It's now to 11 points. Ben King gets his first, and Gold Coast get their 8th. They're 8-4-52. Hawthorn 9-9-63. We've gone almost 9 minutes in the third quarter.
That's the thing about Ben King. He's extremely reliable when he gets opportunities in front of goal, and probably sound like a broken record. It's been tough for the key forwards today of the Gold Coast Suns, but you just feel that they're having a little bit go their way. It just feels like they're first to the contest this quarter. They've come out with the real emphasis to get their hands on the actual ball. I'm not sure what the contested possession count is for the start of this quarter, but you'd think that being in the lead.
First 2 of the third term belong to the Gold Coast Suns. Last 4 of the second term to the Suns also. They've kicked the last 6 here to drag this margin back to just 11 points. 2 straight kicks. Back in the middle we go. Here's Nick Watson, who's been injected into the middle. Feeds it out to Nash now. Reeves now. McKenzie. Ginnivan's on the outside. Receives the handball. Hits up Dalton at right half forward. Has to just bring it under his spell. Speaking of, here's Wizard. Cruising by, receives the handball, can't find a target, offhand, Anderson mops up, gave it straight to Rao, who is immediately claimed by Nash. He's going to be pinged for holding the ball. The umpire adjudged that he turned into the tackle, had prior opportunity, and Connor Nash will have a shot on goal from 30 metres out. Very slight angle. They need this, the Hawks.
I thought it was a good decision, Nida.
Well,
I thought it was a great decision. He turned his body. I reckon he had an opportunity, and yeah,
it was hot. Like, I mean, you're someone like Rao's so experienced that you'd think he'd be able to get his hands free or drive, but, you know, superb tackle, and really golden, those tackles inside 50.
Connor Nash, the big Irishman, no trouble whatsoever for the boy from County Meath. That's his first of the afternoon, and Hawthorn get a steadier that they desperately required. They kick their first goal since the 16.5-minute mark of the second term. 10-9-69 now the Hawks. Gold Coast 8-4-52. 10.5 gone. Third term. Saturday Footy, ABC Sport.
Just the value of someone like Nick Watson. The Hawks had been under the pump. Gold Coast had kicked the previous 6. He went into the centre bounce. He had an impact straight away. He got his first hands on the ball. Reeves was able to then extricate it out, and the Hawks were able to go forward, and he's back into this centre bounce again, Nick Watson. No different to Zach Bailey and Bo McCreary and guys like that. Forwards that have become, in the modern game, been able to do centre bounce craft and have an impact.
Just looking at Nash now, in their centre bounce, he just towers over Matt Rao, doesn't he? So big and powerful for a midfielder.
Meek got the tap down, but Rao scrubs one close to 50. Battle collected. How did he get rid of that? Caught, dropping the ball. Good stuff from Bailey Humphrey. Battle just lurching forward, and Humphrey got him, and Bailey's going back as if he's going to have a shot. He's about 90 metres out. Now he just pushes off the line, goes long. That's a tremendous kick. He's almost got it there. King nearly took the mark. Ball close to the line and trickles over. Boy, oh boy. He's got some power in that right leg, and maybe that breeze has swung around to the city end, but behind the Gold Coast, 8-5 to 10-9.
Even still, that was a monster kick.
It might be one of the reasons why Sam Mitchell and the Hawks will acquire his services. Bailey Humphrey, this is out of the full by the Hawks. Free kick taken by Christian Petrarca, who pokes it inboard to John Noble, just in front of centre wing. Broadcast side, another chance for the Suns. They pumps it into the right forward pocket. Big fly from the back from Jed Walter. Spiked out of bounds though. A ball in 25 metres around from right hand behind post. Gold Coast attacking zone.
Just haven't got that connection. King and his players up the ground. He's caught under the footy a little bit. It just feels like they're just not on the same page with how they're moving the ball.
Andrew and Meek do the rut work. Meek gets down low, feeds out a handball to Greengrass. Noble first on the scene. He was able to get it out to Lombard. He went underground back to Andrew. McGuinness chopped it off. Here's Lombard working through traffic over the top of a player. Worked it to himself. Would have kicked a miracle goal if it had come off. But the little scrubber is no good. It's not a bad result for the Suns because it's off the boot and over for a ball in. Deep in attack still.
You can see the high talent is there for Lombard, can't you? He's not having big disposal games at the moment, but you can see the electric speed and the agility.
In from the stoppage, Meek just works his way to the front, takes it out of the ruck. They share it through hands, the Hawks. Grimshaw, then Nash. His kick is not very pretty, but it landed with Nick Watson, and he got it moving to Finn McGuinness. They're on the charge now, the Hawks. The handball come to Harry Morrison, who was nudged off his kick as he Drop boot onto ball, and it slewed off the side of the boot, right into the arms of Noah Anderson on the back edge of the centre square. He marked in front of Jack Dalton, the second gamer, gets onto his right boot, kicks to right half forward for the Hawks. Getting back into the hole was Morrison, couldn't take the mark. Meek emerged with it, gave it to Weddle. Now McKenzie just wiggles the backside and then fed it back to Amon. Not much of a ball here from Amon, usually a reliable user. Just missed Scrimshaw, and then McKenzie had to go in and win it. Got himself a free kick in the process, and that just releases the pressure valve for the Hawks momentarily.
Gold Coast putting a lot of pressure on Hawthorn at the moment, and they're fumbling and making poor decisions. Here's Battle to another poor decision. Kick over Cook, taken by Anderson. Looking for a man in there, taken by Noble. Away to Bodie Yulin. Bodie Yulin says, I'm going for home, and he's pushed it way out to the right. It's a behind, but the Gold Coast, well, if you look at possessions in this particular term, they'd be way up. It's 8-6-54 playing 10-9-69, 14 and a half gone in the third term.
So back in from fullback. Battle takes a bounce and pumps it beyond defensive 50. Meek just nudged Reed underneath the footy, and he did so illegally. Gee, that's a little fortunate for Ethan Reed, the big wingman.
What are you supposed to... Anyway.
Gave it to Rioli, who was collected heavily as he kicked by Lloyd Meek, maybe taking out a little of his frustration. It's out and over again. Still in that right forward pocket for the Suns.
All in. All the Gold Coast Suns in this quarter doing all the attacking. And they've got it inside their forward 50. Right half forward. Meek and Walter. Taken by Newcomb. That ball holding up in the breeze. Definitely going to the right of your radio dial to the city end. Taken now by Anderson. Anderson got it to Miller and then got it back. Anderson and then kicks to King. And King on a lead. And it's all coming together for the Gold Coast. And Ben King with another shot from almost identically the same place he was where he kicked a goal a few moments ago.
I think, Nida, that's a really good reward for Ben King. He's probably had 3 or 4, I guess, opportunities where they've butchered the ball on top of his head. His timing's probably been a little bit off, but it's been a lot more classier and a lot more sort of composed this quarter, the Gold Coast Suns.
King has popped it through. He's got 2. Here come the Suns. They get their 9th, 9-6-60. They only trail by 9 points. Hawthorn 10-9-69 with Sam Mitchell on the telephone. And Andrew Cooling.
Yeah, you mentioned Breeze a couple of times there, Maney. It's certainly swung around a bit in this third quarter. It's not howling, but it's as strong as it's been all day, and it has flipped around a bit and is definitely favouring the end the Suns are attacking. So it's certainly been a factor in this third term.
What they've been able to establish, Gold Coast, is field position with 1 dominance around the ball, 2 deep inside 50s. What that's allowed them to do, defensively behind the ball, they've been able to set up really well. So that was Hawks come out, Gold Coast won it back, and then they were able to re-enter and go to King, and it was a lovely kick inside 50. But just that ground dominance and the field dominance has allowed them to set up defensively well behind it.
7 of the last 8 majors belong to the Gold Coast Suns as Ben King kicks his 26th of the season. 666 warning here from the umpire as we head back into the middle. Just 9 points the margin, back to single digits. What have the Hawks got in the chamber? Kick smothered by Petrarca off the boot of Meek. He goes in and fetches his own footy. Shimmies one way then the other. High ball now inside 50. Lombard flew and it was unrealistic according to the umpire. This will be a Hawthorn free kick in defence. It'll go the way of Battle. Goes laterally to Tom Barras and he uses Impey by hand to his left-hand side. He pumps the Hawks up the near wing, and Mac Andrews stands strong in the pack. Well placed, takes the good defensive mark just back of a wing for the Gold Coast Suns. He's got a short option on in Anderson as he runs to the bench if he wanted it. He's going to opt against it. He's going to take Meek on. It's probably not a bad option. Takes a bounce. Drives the Gold Coast Suns back inside 50. Flyers fly. Barras from the back, knocked it down. Walter goes in after it. Morrison was there, gave it straight up to Rowell. He just shimmied his way through traffic. His kick was misguided. Barras well placed, takes the uncontested mark. Deep in defence for the Hawks. They're under siege here at their home away from home.
Barras, who's saved Hawthorn a number of times this quarter, goes long to half back. Meek caught behind. Walter at the front, can't haul it in. Ball hits the ground, handball comes out, Scrimshaw, little fumble. and D'Ambrosio takes it to the line, ball in. Just a few metres from the 50-metre arc on the grandstand side here, right in front of us. Listening to Saturday Footy on ABC Sport and the ABC Listen app. In it goes. Reed in the ruck against Meek, taken by Newcomb. Quick handball to McKenzie, who does a 360, throws it on the boot, getting back and taking the mark. Collins v McGuinness, no match there. And Collins has got it at half-back for the Gold Coast Suns. What's he got on offer? Will he still try and take it down the line? He does. Walter with a big long run. Witts in front, cop one in the hip as well. And might have got that from, I'm not sure whether it was Meek or Walter, but Walter's taken the mark for Gold Coast. Right in front of us. The grandstand side goes to the pocket. Here comes Reed. Can't take the mark. Battle with the nudge out. It'll be a boundary throw in about 35 metres out from the Gold Coast goal. They're 9-6-60 Gold Coast. Hawthorn 10-9-69. And Hawthorn, who led by 46 points halfway through the second term, it's whittled down to 9.
Just one goal since. Connor McDonald major halfway through the second. Gold Coast in attack again here. Meek fighting hard, wins it out of the stoppage, just thumps it high and long as far as he can outside of defensive 50, and this will be a free kick going the Gold Coast Suns' way. They just can't get it past halfway here, the Hawks.
They're soaking up a barrage of inside 50s, the Hawks. It seems like they want to get through to three-quarter time, being with their noses in front, but there's still plenty of time to go in this quarter.
Quarters belong to the Gold Coast Suns. Sam Collins drives the boot into there. So Pack flies again. Newcomb at the fall. His handball's broken up by Petrarca, who comes through and slaps it out of his hands over the boundary for another ball in. It has been trapped in this right forward pocket for about 10 minutes.
Inside 50 count to Gold Coast Suns, +8, as I've just been informed for this quarter.
Flung in here by the umpire. Witts and Meek do battle again, slapped onto the boot by Scrimshaw into a pack of bodies. Morrison unable to work out anything sort of meaningful. It squirts out towards the boundary line, and now Connor McDonald can maybe make something work for the Hawks. There's not much up the line, a one-on-one that he likes. Deere and Mac Andrew, but the cavalry arrives for the Suns as they work it through hands. It was Graham and then Collins, and now a high free kick against Rioli on Ward. Powell drives it inside now for the Suns. Witts floating back. He had a good piece of it, just broken up at the vital moment by Barris. Through hands now go the Hawks. Weddle and now Impey. He's going to take on Ben Long. And now Weddle streaming up the outer side. And they break it open. And finally get an uncontested mark at half back.
Taken now by Morrison, who goes short out to the wing. McGuinness takes the mark in front of Noble. He wants to feed it back inside to Battle. Battle's got Impey. Impey's in the centre square. Now he goes short. This is okay from the Hawks as Morrison's got it again. Just a little bit of keepings off at the moment by foot. Morrison goes long. Who can mark it? At the back they fly. Kalshadir was there. At ground level, Watson tries to feed it out. Did it nicely. McGuinness thought he placed it on the ground. Got a handball to Deere. Deere fumbled. Good defence by Gold Coast. Deere's caught underneath. And McDonald comes from nowhere. And the Hawks just fumbling at every opportunity here.
This has been a terrific quarter from the Gold Coast Suns. Their pressure has been completely dialed up. A little bit clumsy going inside 50 every now and then, but Hawks are under the pump.
Reeves knocks it down, but it's going to be another ball up, a little flick out of there. Little handball away to Watson. Watson's tackled by a couple of them. Why wouldn't you? If he gets half a metre on you, he's gone. He's drawing another ball up.
He's drawing about 3 tackles at a time at the moment, Watson, which is, possibly will open up other Hawks inside 50.
Will Power following him very closely. He rove this well off the stoppage. Was he taken in the back? Umpire says no. Hawthorn faithful thought he might have been.
I reckon he'll be sore. Nick Watson, after this passage of play, has copped 2 or 3 really big hits.
Up it goes again, another stoppage, deep in attack for the Hawks, off hands. Newcomb gets the hands free. D'Ambrosio, who's quietened down, onto his left foot, round the body, across the face of goal. It stays in. McGuinness at ground level, tackled by Noble. Somehow got it out. Lewis there lurking at the back of the stoppage. Gets it out to Morrison, slung in the tackle. McGuinness somehow got boot to ball. Andrew couldn't take the mark. Coming through was Graham, offhand, shared it with Rioli. Back to Andrew on a pivot. Now finds the outlet kick in Miller, and now the Gold Coast can reload off half-back via Petrarca.
They're out now.
Petrarca to Lombard. He can have a couple of bounces here. He's got an open forward line. He's got Long running into space. He goes short. Long just hits up. Can't hit him. Taken by Scrimshaw. Oh, did brilliantly well Scrimshaw. Under pressure. Rushed a couple. Got it to Ward. Ward's kick looking for Nash. Too fierce for him. Taken by Newcomb. Scrimshaw kept running, but his handball was atrocious. Taken by Lombard. Now they get it back. Humphreys there. Handball over to might have been Graham. Reed just taps it down. Scrimshaw somehow in that chain again. Here's McDonald. Tried to cut back inboard. Goes to Massimo. Massimo D'Ambrosio goes short. No one can take the mark. Flicks over the back. Collins took his eyes off it. Don't see that very often. Here's Lewis. He can't get involved. In goes Witts. And the ball is in dispute and the umpire says, give it to me. Goodness me. Jack Scrimshaw must have run about 250 metres in that chain. Had about 3 possessions. From the ball up, no one can take possession of it. Here's Newcomb. Just got a scrubby old kick forward. Deers in front, tries to trap it. Looking for McGuinness. No one can grab clean football. It's ugly. Taken by Collins. Got a handball to Petrarca. Petrarca's up and under kick. It might be coming back his way because Scrimshaw's got it.
Tried to hand it off to the running Impey. He just bobbled in his hands, had to go and find it. Released. Ambrosio eventually gets onto his left. And it all fizzles out as it just drifts to the left-hand side. A minor score only. 0437 774 774 the text line. Shannon in Frankston says the kicks coming into the Gold Coast forward line are the ones normally picked off by James Sicily. His idiotic decision last week will cost Hawthorn this game unless something very different happens from here on in. Thank you for the text, Shannon. 0437 774 774. Gold Coast ball out of the fence, rising high. It was Tom Barras taking a mark just in front of centre wing near side. And this might be 50, and it is. So something off the ball here. Christian Petrarca is pleading his case. Was there maybe a little case of dissent or something? Either way, Tom Barrett is going to be marched to right within striking distance. And after a mountain of good work by the Gold Coast Suns, this could be a gimme for the Hawks deep into the quarter.
One thing for the Suns, positive, is as Tom Barras doesn't kick many.
Unsurprisingly, hasn't kicked a goal this season. Tom Barras, not a noted goal kicker.
What do you think, Cal? You're backing him and you're trusting the big lefty from full-back or not?
Mate, he genuinely is quite an accurate kicker. I like his technique. He genuinely... Not sure. He hasn't done much of this for his career, but...
Slide ankle.
He's not a horrible kick.
35 metres out. He didn't look overly orthodox, but he drives it through the heart. And his Hawks desperately needed that. And look at them all get around him. It's like a first gamer kicking their first major. Instead, it's Tom Barras kicking his first for the season via a 50-metre penalty that we think came from Christian Petrarca. Breathing space for the Hawks. 11-9-75. Back out to 15 points. The Suns 9-6-60. Saturday footy for ABC Sport.
A bit happened in that passage of play. Obviously a 50-metre free kick, and Petrarca had words and that highlighted it. But just to go back to Tom Barras taking that mark over Jared Witts, there aren't many defenders out there that actually back themselves in the air to actually take the mark in the first instance. Like the courage it took for Tom Barras to actually, on the back of Jared Witts, you'll generally try to... Sorry, guys, I've been thrown by what's happened in the crowd.
Back in the centre, Reeves knocked it down. McKenzie did nicely, got it back to Reeves. Reeves with the old reverse torpedo. No one can take the mark. Here's Watson. He's quick to it. And then tackles Powell, who got in front of him. The ball just wobbles out and goes out of bounds, and it'll be thrown back in. The umpire's is it the old lasso? Free kick will go to Ginnivan. So Jack Ginnivan, a little bit quieter today, goes in short and finds Gunston. This is probably the toughest kick on the ground here, Jack Gunston. And he's right in front of the scoreboard on the outer side, kicking to the Invermay end, right on the boundary line. And that is to the left of your radio dial. And he's going to have to push this out really toward the left goal post and draw it back in. Here he goes. Gives it everything. It's a wonderful looking kick. Jack Gunston's kicked it. He didn't celebrate one that he kicked like a sack of spuds in the first term. But he's got that, and Gunston's got 3. And the Hawks push it out by 21. What a kick from there. That is tough. He's got 4. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, it's so important, the last 2 goals. They've just halted Gold Coast momentum, particularly against the breeze, the Hawks. Just back on to Barrass, I think the recruiting of Barrass just to play that anchor pillar defender that can play on a player but also is proactive in the air, and it was no different to Jerry McGovern when those two were playing back half for West Coast. They often marked instead of spoilt, but I guess Barrass has really complemented Battle and Sicily and Scrimshaw to allow them to do what they do. It was great recruiting.
Shadows of three-quarter time here as we go back into the middle of the ground. Newcomb is laying on top of, I think it's Petrarca, down there it is, who sits on top of the footy. We're going to go again. Ball up. Going after it here is Petrarca, tracking the footy. There's 3 Hawks around him, but he wins it, fires out a handball, missed the target, so he went in and got it again. Now he's got Anderson on the outside. He shares it with Miller. Able to take a bounce at right half court. Oh, didn't catch it on the way back up. Good enough to go and get it again. Miller drives it inside 50. The target was Reed. Got a hand to it. Humphrey at the fault. Couldn't quite scoop it up on the way past. Dangerous position here for the Hawks. Barrass goes in again. Battle just lost the handle. He's tackled towards the boundary line. Humphrey got him. And it's going to spill over for a ball in deep in attack for the Gold Coast Suns with 41 seconds remaining in the third term.
Left forward pocket, Suns in attack. Reeves knocks it down to Newcomb, hard up on the boundary line. Just kicks it along. Will it be touched? Keeping it back in was McGuinness. And the boundary umpire will throw it back in. Well done by McGuinness to get a fingernail on it out there. Would have been a turnover. And a lasso.
A lot more to think about these days as a boundary umpire, isn't it?
Yes. Don't have to throw the ball in as much. Just got to use the noggin a bit more. From the ball in, taken by Miller over the back of that pack. His kick is terrific to Ugelhagen, who couldn't quite hold on to the mark under pressure from Scrimshaw. Taken by Amon now. Left footer by Amon. Kicks to a pack situation. Getting back was Reed. Going with a flight. Couldn't take the mark. In goes Lewis. No one's getting that footy out of there at the moment. Witt's long way down for him to reach the ball on ground, and it will be a ball up. Not much time left to go, Chris Rowbottom. Only a matter of seconds.
3, in fact. We'll have one last ball up, and then the siren will sound very shortly afterwards as Witts won it down to Morrison, who scrambles it up towards centre wing where Watson was awaiting. He's quick as Watson, but he can't beat the siren on this occasion. And Hawthorn, who just steadied in the back half of that third term to hold a 21-point lead going into the fourth and final. 12-9-81. The Hawks leading the Suns 9-6-60. They led by as many as 46 halfway through the second term. 23 points at half-time. The margin got to as little as 9 points, single digits for the Suns, so the Hawks steadied and just went back out by 21. The goal kickers so far, Jack Gunston, and his terrific second season. We'll call it the second season of the Renaissance, I suppose. He has 4 goals, 2 this afternoon for the Hawks. Singles to Connor McDonald, D'Ambrosio, Nash, McGuinness, Impey, Lewis, Watson, and Tom Barrass. Believe it or not, he got on the score sheet for the Gold Coast Suns. For the Hawks, pardon me, while for the Suns, Bailey Humphrey has 2, King has 2, Long has 2, Weller has 2, Ugelhagen has 1, and that is where it ends for the Gold Coast Suns in terms of the goal kickers. So a 21-point advantage to the Hawks as we turn for home. Some thoughts from you, Cal Sinclair?
Well, the Gold Coast Suns turned up the dial, particularly for the first probably 15 minutes of that quarter there at the third term. Like, Hawthorn just could not move the ball. Like, they were clumsy. They were very, very fumbly. It just felt like Gold Coast came with the strategy just to push them to the boundary line, because we've just been exposed for 2.5 quarters of Hawthorn coming through the ground. I think it was a real positive that Max King has found his way into the game. He kicked a couple of goals, very, very reliable in front of goal. I still think the Gold Coast Suns' disposals going inside 50 is really, really costly to them. They did miss a few opportunities. Jared Witts, just split second just to hold that mark at the top of the goal square would have, I guess, put a lot more pressure on the Hawthorn Football Club. But probably similar to how Gold Coast played in that second term, the Hawks really just piled a couple of goals to just, I guess, nudge that lead a little bit further in the last kind of few minutes of that game. I thought Tom Barrass was terrific at a time of the quarter when, I guess, they needed to steady the ship, but I don't think we've made enough of Jack Gunston's goal. Like, that was 50 metres out on the wrong side for him. A set shot, he absolutely flushed it. Looked like Rory McIlroy off the tee at Augusta with how clean his...
nice bit of draw too.
Correct, with how clean his technique's been. But we've got a game on our hands now, whereas probably halfway through that second term, we were sitting there going, oh, this might be a tough one to call. But just some key stats. John Newcomb with 10 disposals. Harry Morrison with 9 disposals that quarter. Scrimshaw, I thought, was terrific with 9 disposals. Petrarca stepped it up with 8 touches in that quarter. Sam Collins is having a bit more of an impact. Will Powell, but Matthew Rouse probably and Took Miller are the ones that are probably struggling a little bit. If those guys can have a really big quarter and put pressure on Hawthorn here, hopefully we've got a game on our hands. But for the Gold Coast Suns, it's a big first 5 or 6 minutes.
The voice of Callum Sinclair, Saturday Footy on ABC Sport. Hawks by 21. They lead 12-9-81 to the Gold Coast 9-6-60. Back for the fourth and final right after this.
There's no doubt that country music is bigger than ever right now. Join me, Outback Tom, as I get you around the artists that are blazing a trail. Listen to Country Club, Sunday night at 6 on ABC Country or anytime you like on the ABC Listen app.
This is Anzac Day Footy
with ABC Sport.
Weller marks in front of the interchange benches, gets on with it. Right football up to right half forward for the Suns. Big fly over the back, Jamara. Welcome back, young man. A great contested mark, and now a pretty nice squaring ball too to Bailey Humphrey. And that is what the number 1 draft pick is capable of. Bailey Humphrey, 1 on the afternoon. He was part of that comeback in the second quarter. Let's fly from just outside 50. Never looked like missing from Bailey Humphrey. And the Suns are on a heater to start the second half. Connor Nash, the big Irishman. No trouble whatsoever for the boy from County Meath. That's his first of the afternoon. And Hawthorn get a steadier that they desperately required. This might be 50, and it is. So something off the ball here. Christian Petrarca is pleading his case. Was there maybe a little case of dissent or something? Either way, Tom Barrett is going to be marched to right within striking distance.
Hasn't done much of this for his career, but
slide ankle.
He's not a horrible kick.
35 metres out. He didn't look overly orthodox, but he drives it through the heart. And his Hawks desperately needed that.
Anzac Day Footy on ABC Local Radio, Sport Digital and on ABC Listen.
The Gold Coast Suns mounted a comeback in this game, cutting the margin to 23 points at half-time, and then they got within 9 points of the Hawks here in Launceston during that third term, but the Hawks steadied with 2 late goals to make it a 21-point break. 12-9-81 to the Suns, 9-6-60 as we enter the fourth and final term here in Launceston. Tom Barrass kicked his first goal of the season, much to the celebration and delight of his teammates. So the clarification there was that it was a stand interpretation. So Jamara Ugle-Hagan stood the mark, which he was told to. Then he came back. Then Jared Witts came in. Jamara didn't. The umpire didn't reference the players by name, so there was confusion. Now, we know that Damien Hardwick had some really strong words during the week on the holding the ball interpretation, so he might just have the umpires in his sights again post-match, given the gravity of that goal from Tom Barrass.
It's been a big week for the umpires.
It has been. It's been an enormous couple of weeks for the umps, it has to be said. We're back underway here in Launceston, fourth and final term. Here's Josh Battle taking a defensive mark after the clearance out of the middle was won by the Gold Coast Suns. He kicks to right half forward where Kaushadir battles with Mac Andrew. It's off hands and immediately Ethan Reid arrives on the scene, takes the footy, and Harry Morrison takes him, wraps him up. We'll have the ball up right in front of our commentary position, just in front of centre wing, near side. Hawks by 21. They tangle up to the rucks, down in front of Nash. He just stiff arms Matt Rowell, gets onto his right boot, and it just screws out of bounds on the full. It'll be a Gold Coast Suns free kick. Noah Anderson to take it as Josh Ward stands the mark.
Anderson with a real over-the-top kick. Scrimshaw attacked it at full pace, got the handball away to Nash, now to Morrison. Morrison was in trouble, backtrack by hand to Nash, now to Hardwick. Hardwick kicks it long. Lewis is trying to get into the contest. Rove beautifully by McDonald. Now taken by Ginnivan. Ginnivan's going to line them up. It's a long kick. It's a goal. Jack doing Jack things. To the crowd also. What a kick from Ginnivan, hard up on the line and threaded through his first goal of the afternoon. Hawthorn moved to 13-9-87, Gold Coast 9-6-60. That was special and we were right behind it.
Yeah, it was great to see the Hawks go through a contest, and the thing I loved about that goal is Ginnivan got the ball, he looked inside, he could see the Gold Coast numbers had flooded back, so he took a calculated risk, and I'm going to have a shot from the boundary, and high precision, high skill to execute, and a marvellous goal for the Hawks at the early stage of the quarter.
Particularly the celebration. He went to the crowd, but that part of the stadium's actually under construction, so there's actually no one there to actually appreciate the celebration.
I'm sure the freshly laid concrete appreciated the celebration from Jack Ginnivan. Back in the middle we go. Hawks back out by 27 now via the Jack Ginnivan special from tight on the boundary. Out of the middle. There's a free kick here. It's going to go the way of the Gold Coast Suns. Ethan Reid, who's matched up on Harry Morrison out on that wing. It's a mismatch. Short one to Petrarca. Now Noah Anderson, he has a flying shot on goal, but the Bronx cheers from the crowd tell the story. He misses way out to the left. 0437 774 774 the text line. Anne and Cedric here in Launceston says, loving your call, guys. Thank you to you, Anne and Cedric. You can get involved too on 0437 774 774.
The Hawks coming out of half-back. Nash, little kick off the ground by Impey. It's on the outer side wing. Ward got the handball away to McDonald. McDonald just looking for something up forward and then picks out Ginnivan. Ginnivan on a hot streak at the moment. That kick's not too good. Looking for Gunston just right at his bootlaces. Gunston got the handball out the back. Powell's got some work to do. Tackled. In they go. Watson copped one right on the noggin. Now taken by Powell again for Gold Coast. Bodie Hewlin taken to ground and it'll be a ball up. Gee, the Wizard might have copped one in that exchange to go on with a few that he had in the third quarter.
Wasn't a great kick by Jack Ginnivan, but just Jack Gunston's ability to just scrap and get a fingernail just to keep it inside 50.
Here's Amon from the loose kick out. Amon goes long. It's touched on the line by the long claws of Mac Andrew. And the Hawks go to 13-10-88. 9-7-61 Gold Coast, 3 minutes gone, final term.
Andrew out of fullback, finds Adams and kept on running, received the handball, a little bit of candy inside to the 34-year-old Gunston, received the handball back, then put Collins under the pump, broken up here by Morrison, who then arrives and lands a big tackle. And that was good defensive pressure from Harry Morrison as he brought Anderson to ground, wrapped it up, forced a stoppage. Witts palmed it down. Here is Rowell, hassled off it by Newcomb, got his kick away, high one towards centre wing. Over the top was Hardwick, who punched it down in front of Nash, waited for it to bounce, then got it off to Ward. Now Amon, silky smooth inside 50, can't quite pick out a target. Meeting it on the bounce was Nick Watson, but he was wrapped up and collected as he gathered the ball. Umpire lets it run, it spills out the back to Mitch Lewis. Scrambly old kick forward, he spied an opening and couldn't quite make the finish that he desired. It's through for a minor score as they go on with it inside defensive 50.
Pound for pound, Nick Watson must be so strong just to absorb the brute force of that.
Hewlett goes straight down the ground, looking for and finding his man in the middle there, which is Collins. That's a good contested mark by Collins. Running past was Rioli. Handball to Powell. Powell gets a good bounce in the end, then ducks through the centre square and then goes with a spear looking for King. We'll get a free kick. Scragged around the neck and King will line up for his third. Just gives a little clip to Scrimshaw on the way back, but he'll shoot from about 40 metres out directly in front.
The kick up the middle was exuberant to Collins, but he made it work, and then they were able to get overlap off that. And you feel if Gold Coast are going to have any chance in this game, they're going to have to take all sorts of risks off half-back, even considering they're into the breeze. But they're not going to score any other way than taking that risk through the back half.
Hadn't touched the footy to half-time. Ben King, he's now got a couple of goals and shooting for his third. It's a good-looking kick. It works back. It's a goal. Or is it touched on the line? We're going to have some adjudication down there.
Barras is saying the post.
We'll wait and wonder. We've got to do these things a little quicker, I think. I don't know how we do it, but certainly you can take a little break if you're a midfielder when these things are going on and stay on the ground. It's a little spike we might be seeing on the goal post, is it? I think you're spot on, Nida. It might be called a behind. His first blemish, King, and the Suns move to 9-8-62, 13-11-89. The Hawks 6.5 gone, and wow, it's back in play very quickly, Chris.
Battle got things moving very quickly indeed out of full back. The kick to Hardwick, but his kick was subsequently smothered over the line for a ball in. About 75 around from the Gold Coast goal. Held in over the umpire's head. Rocks go at it. Meek and Witts flashing through his row, immediately claimed by McKenzie, but got the hands free. Here's Petrarca now, inside out kick with the right boot, deep into attack. Two defenders to deal with. Walter off hands McGuinness. Battle came on through, looping handball over the top to Nash, who just delayed the handball to Battle, who kept on running. Takes a bounce along the boundary, inside to Ward. Now McKenzie, he gets onto his right, goes outside of the boot. Well, if you meant that, it was absolutely exquisite because he hit the wizard Watson on the chest. He goes with the right boot into a one-on-one where Gunston away. It's good defensive work by Adams to get a fist to the footy and knock it over for a minor score. But that was electric from the Hawks as they just threatened to break this one right open. They had a minor score to the tally, 13-12-90, leading Gold Coast 9-8-62. 7.5 gone in this fourth and final.
Well, they're in trouble here again, Gold Coast. They get out of it because the kick was out toward Graham. And on the bounce, he managed to collect it under pressure. Kick goes right down the line. King from 3 back. Can't take the mark. Hardwick's handball, not good in the initial stages. Went back and cleaned up his mess. Scrimshaw, the little kick to McDonald. Now to D'Ambrosio, who's owned both wings this afternoon. Now to Ginnivan. Ginnivan's normally good in these situations. Picks out a man. He's got Watson on a lead. And when that man gets half a yard in front of you, you got no hope.
You can say what you like about Jack Ginnivan. He probably hasn't had a lot of the footy today, but what you can't knock him on is generally he makes pretty good decisions. You know, he took his opportunity there. He had 2 options. Nut thought about it, and he just waited and just crafty inside 50 just to find Nick Watson, who's usually a dead eye. So I'll put it on him now.
Going to get his second goal in his 50th game for the Hawks. Sits it up. It's a good-looking kick. It draws back. And the Wizard casts a spell on York Park. With another goal. And the Hawks keep soldiering on. He's got a couple. Hawthorn 14-12-96. Gold Coast 9-8-62. And you just get the feeling, we saw it in that third quarter, Nida, that breeze was starting to kick up a little bit to the city end, to which Hawthorn's kicking at the moment.
Yeah, they're certainly starting to take advantage of it now. You can see it, Gold Coast are a little bit resigned. It's going to be tough from here. I love the way that Ginnivan's elevated his career. He's got himself super fit. He kicks up the ground, plays three-quarter ground, and as Cal mentioned, when the ball's in his hands, he makes really good decisions with his handball or his short kicking. So he really aids this Hawthorn system with Watson, because they're both really quite contrasting players, but they both gel together really well.
All of a sudden, we're back out to 34 points the difference. Hawthorn lead. Newcomb, off the palm of Lloyd Meek, was tackled as he got the handball away. In contention is the footy. And they wrap it all up just forward of the centre circle. We'll have another ball up as players converge. Witts and Meek go in after it again. There's some holding going on, we think. There's going to be a free kick going the way of the Gold Coast Suns. It's going to go to Matt Rowell, or Will Graham, pardon me, who Plays on immediately, picks off the kick on the 45 to John Noble, who spies a target that he likes. It was Jamara coming in over the back. Weddle got in front. He thought he claimed the mark, so did the crowd. Umpire said play on. He had enough time to do so. He tried to hit up Jack Ginnivan, who'd made good ground up the ground, but Mac Andrew, who's been pretty good this afternoon, knocked it away from him. So that Tom Barrass goal was his second of his career. His first came, obviously, while playing for West Coast back in 2022 in his 100th game. And didn't they celebrate that one? His Hawthorn teammates. Out of the ruck is Witts, around the body. Weddle gets low, couldn't complete the mark. Rogers scrambles for it at ground level, feeds it out to Graham. He's got Zeke Hewlin waiting to receive the handball, hassled by Dalton, scrambles one inside 50. Here is Barrass, back in defence now. He has to reach down a long way. Humphrey emerged with a footy weave through some traffic, picked out Anderson on the handball. Good Hawthorn pressure, knocked off his kick as he went to fire on goal, and now they'll stream out of defence via Jarman Impey, the Hawks.
Impey at half-back, had nothing to kick to, so he's got to backtrack to Scrimshaw as things start to open up now with Ginnivan taking the mark on the wing outer side. Ginnivan's got them running from everywhere. Right, it's a good-looking kick, and he finds McGuinness. McGuinness back inboard with the handball to McDonald. McDonald goes to the pocket. Gunston, fingertipper, takes the mark. As Adams takes out Mitch Lewis, but Gunston loves these around the corner. And he'll shoot from about 30. Good ball movement by the Hawks. McDonald getting it done. Gunston curls it around and misses.
Might be a discussion for another day, but Jack Ginnivan's finding plenty of the footy this quarter. His craft and his kicks inside 50, it's just what Collingwood need, dare I say it.
Yeah. That's a good point.
It's been a high-value acquisition for the Hawks since making his way across, as Anderson misses the target with his kick out of defence. Into the middle of the ground we go. Hawthorn defence will mop this up via Blake Hardwick, who finds Carl Amon on the short, just behind the centre circle. He flares it out to left half forward. The battle's just floated up the ground, and he pokes a pass inside now to Connor McDonald, who marks inside 50, tight angle, and kick from just inside the paint of 50 if he elects to take the shot.
Do we feel that Gold Coast have probably fired all their shots in the third term, and now it's just they're just starting to struggle a little?
I think when you start the game like the way they did, it's very difficult to pinch a game at this level, particularly against this side. But look, they look a bit out in their feet at the moment.
Connor McDonald's elected to go inboard, and he's found Jack Gunston, who is going to line up for goal number 5. Now, it'll take every bit of his 34-year-old leg to get it over the line from about 55, but there is some breeze at his back. Jack Gunston for a 5th on the afternoon. Tries to just hoik it long and strong towards the goal line. Big fly at the back. Juggling was Kalshadir. Couldn't quite take it. Butted up though. Kicked it up over his head. Crowd got excited. It falls down into the lap of Mac Andrew, who just took on the tackler. Had to be clever. Couldn't quite keep it in the Gold Coast Suns, and eventually the sanctuary of the boundary line, it goes over. It'll be a ball in deep in attack for the Hawks.
He's so crafty, Mac Andrew. He knows he's got composure and he's got great vision for a big man. He makes really good decisions with the ball in his hand. He's had a pretty good day.
Boundary throw in. Hawks right forward pocket. Meek tackles. Witts now taken by Zeke Hewlin. Hasn't had much of it today, Zeke. Tough day at the office for him. Battle. Feeds the handball back into McGuinness, who got it back to Battle, who fumbled. He might be good enough to get it back to McGuinness. Now to Amon, really close to the line, and Ward takes it there. Left half forward, Hawthorn in attack. We've gone 14 minutes in the final quarter. The Hawks 14-13, 97. The Suns 9-8, 62. Boundary throw in with Witts and Meek. Meek got his way to the front, knocked it down to McKenzie, went without it, taken by Ward. Ward just threw it on the boot. Andrews getting back. Gunston can't take the mark. He just butters up beautifully, hooks it around the body. It's bouncing! Oh, that would have been miraculous from Jack. But he's hit the post on the bounce. So another behind. 14-14, 98, plays 9-8, 62.
That would have been something from the old boy. John Noble in from fullback. Goes the direct line, but only to a contest. Spills out the back where the Hawthorn defence is set up. Amon went underground via the handball to Ward, who just had to evade a couple of tacklers, did so well. Out to McGuinness, who put Amon back under the pump. He was wrapped up and shot out a handball to green grass. Took Miller, got there first for the Suns. Now Humphrey, now Lombard on the outer side. Just works the ball up to right half forward where Jamara Ugelhagen marks on his chest in front of Josh Battle. Over the top he goes to Weller. A little bit of rust in the missed handball. Gathered by Scrimshaw, who just insulted Weller. Got rid of him and then fed it back to Newcomb. Kick out towards the outer side, off hands. Humphrey again, looping over the top handball. They'll try again here. Weller strokes the ball inside 50. He's got a man all on his own. It's Lombard who's just floated forward. And he takes the mark. He's going to square it up to Anderson, but missed him on the kick. It eventually comes to Anderson via the Miller handball. He has a pretty wayward shot on goal. It's out of bounds on the full in the end. Over, and it'll be Blake Hardwick to take the free kick deep in defence for the Hawks.
Well, the Hawks have ridden the comeback from the Gold Coast, and it seems like there's not much petrol left in the tank. The quick kick to Weddle, now to Dalton, back to Weddle, who just burns them off, wants to give it back to Dalton, but ended up sort of hitting the grass. Now the handball comes back to Morrison. Lewis gets around. He's at half back, Mitch Lewis, but gee, that's a good kick to find McDonald on the wing, right in front of the interchange gates where signs are going up everywhere. We can't see them, only the back of them.
He's an incredible athlete, Weddle. I've just watched him today. Just his power, he's just so far superior to anyone else out there.
Hawthorn get the switch to the outer side. Battle goes in short to Amon, so Amon still out on the wing, and then somehow McGuinness has found an acre of space out there. Goes in short to Ginnivan. On the mark, Rioli. What's Ginnivan got in front? He's got short, he's got Nash, but now he's just going to feed it back and just work a little bit of time off the clock to Battle, who goes short to Newcomb. So they're waxing a bit here, the Hawks.
Patient build up here from the Hawks. Newcomb goes wide out to Mitch Lewis. Still 2 kicks from home. Connor McDonald on a lead. Marks in front. Zeke Ewlands, and in a very similar position to where he marked last time inside forward 50. Very tight on the boundary. And again, he's going to come inboard to Gunston. So a carbon copy the last time these two paired up. Although Gunston's going to be a little closer to home, albeit on a slightly tighter angle. Still looking for that 5th major. Jack Gunston. So Gunston, who's had a day out, he's going to line up for number 5. Greater than a 45-degree angle from about 45 metres out. It sails through post high. And like a fine wine, this man continues to age ever so gracefully. Another bag of 5 for Jack Gunston. 24 on the season. What can't he do? And that is just about the nail for the Gold Coast Suns. 15-14, 104 go the Hawks. Gold Coast 9-8-62. 18 and a half gone. 4th and final term. Cal Sinclair.
He's the perfect body type, Jack Gunston, for the way Hawthorn want to play and the way that they actually enter inside 50. It's just amazing his last couple of years. It's scary to think that he was at Brisbane for a year and he couldn't actually couldn't get a game.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, he's handy. He's winding back the clock. He's been superb.
How those riches are up at the Brisbane Lions. 42 points the margin now. Back in the centre, Reeves knocks it down. A classic to Newcomb, who gets it to McDonald on the run. McDonald goes for Gunston. He works his opponent out of the way, but it flicks over the back for a behind. And 43 points the margin now in favour of the Hawks as they bring it back in.
Here's Powell, deep inside the defensive 50, just tries to slice something into the middle of the ground to get something to work, but it's going to be turned straight over. Here's D'Ambrosio on that left-hand side, off hands, McGuinness, and now they are running riot here in Launceston, the Hawks. He ambles on into the open goal and pops it through. He has 2 for the afternoon. Does the inclusion, Finn McGuinness. And they are bouncing away with the 4 points here at York Park. They go to 16-15, 111. The Gold Coast 9-8-62. Almost 20 minutes gone, 4th and final term. Saturday footy on ABC Sport. It has been a domination in this last quarter from the Hawks after they were challenged in that third, Cal Sinclair.
Yeah, they were, but they've just put the foot down. Very happy for Finn McGuinness. He hit the scoreboard today with 2 goals. Nice little way just to complement his contribution in today's side. But I don't know, if you're the Gold Coast Suns, it's just been it's a risk of this being a significant blowout. They'll probably be played, 20 minutes of good footy today, you'd think. But it's really been all Hawthorn.
And they look dangerous too in that 20 minutes.
And tough.
Yeah. From the centre, Reeves knocked it out and then got it back, and then the handball went to Mackenzie, who he lost it. He's back in after it again. Mackenzie copped one high, no free kick. In they go. Rogers, who's had a quiet day, flicks it back to Rioli, who hasn't been able to provide the normal run from half-back, goes to Lombard on the outer side. As Matthew Knight said, you can see what's going on with this young man. He's got some talent. Just runs off the line, gets the handball away to Weller. He kicked a couple of goals. He won't kick one here. Kicks long to the square. Weddle's there. Ball hits the deck. No one can gain clear possession. Long, handball out looking for Noble. Noble might have copped one high here. I think he has. And John Noble, who doesn't mind drifting down and kicking the odd sausage roll. And he'll have a shot from about 30 metres out on a slight angle. Should nail this.
Yeah, he's been a handy addition to the Gold Coast team. John Noble, you wouldn't say he's a great serviceman, of the footy club. Generally pretty reliable, rarely injured.
Hard worker.
Yeah, and sneaks forward, and he can kick, and he can't kick straight.
Every now and then he'll push one to the right.
Exactly right.
And that's what he's done.
It's like my golf game at the moment. Just tend to open the face and just put it out to the right a little bit.
9-9-63 to 16-15-11, Hawthorn in front.
Up the near wing comes Ginnivan onto the right boot. Kicks to right half forward. Meek was the target, got hands to it, but couldn't take the mark. McAndrew was at the back, gathered the footy and then ran it over. It'll be a ball in, so Hawthorn now out to a 48-point lead, and when Gold Coast kicked the first 2 goals of that third term, you thought, hang on a second, 9 points the margin, and the Suns were going to maybe rattle off a few more and pull off a stunning comeback, but the Hawks dominated ever since. They work it through hands here, the Suns out of the stoppage. Noble, then Rao into the middle of the ground. Amon's been prominent across half-back for the Hawks. Got in front of Rogers, punched it out to D'Ambrosio. He just has to fend off Weller. Handball back to Amon, who just sat back in support. And now he finds the relief kick in Jarman Impey, and he goes into the middle of the ground where Josh Weddle awaits, starting to open up now for the Hawks. He comes all the way back across to the broadcast side. Morrison just had to wait for it to bounce and sit. He did so. He was given a free kick as he was pushed. It's a play on advantage as they work it around the half-back line, the Hawks. Hardwick back to Impey, just back of the centre circle. Sunbathed York Park here in Launceston. No one on the mark for Impey, so he's allowed to just stream towards attack. Off hands now. Here's Nick Watson on the fly with a late little bit of magic. Not quite. Drifting to the right-hand side. A minor score. That margin back to 49 points. 16-16, 1-12. Gold Coast 9-9-63. Inside 4 minutes remaining here in Launceston.
He's looked dangerous without really breaking the game open, Watson, but you've got to watch him. So from half-back, Bodie Hewlin goes with a low worm burner to the wing. Rogers with a nice bit of work over there. The handball to Petrarca, who sort of drifted out of the game, and then laces out Ben King, who's roughly in the same distance from as Jack Gunston, maybe forward of 5 or 6 metres and slightly inboard. Gunston was hard up on the boundary line.
He's had 25 touches, Christian Petrarca, but I must say I wouldn't say he had an overly massive influence on the game. No problem finding the ball, but
here's King. Sits it up. It's across the face of goal. Won't be a score even. Ball just drops down to the pocket. Picking up was Long. Got the handball away. Walter just ran straight over the top. It goes back in again. Gets tackled. Jars free. Could be a ball up as time ticks away. 24 and a half gone. Hawthorn 16-16, 112. Gold Coast 9-9-63.
Stoppage inside 450 for the Suns. There's some late joy for the Gold Coasters. Newcomb emerges, somehow got a handball up. Wasn't quite a throw. Reid couldn't bring it under his spell. McDonald just slaps it beyond defensive 50. One-on-one here. Deere and Daniel Rioli. Mac Andrew arrives in support of Rioli. Rioli just manages to knock it in front of himself, gathers the footy. He was gathered by Deere. It was a good battle. Gold Coast Suns win the day. Rioli will end up with it via the hands of Touk Miller. Towards right half forward now go the Suns. Amon was in front as Petrarca leapt from behind. At the back was Morrison. He coughed it up back to Petrarca, who broke the Morrison tackle. Graham, now Miller. Spots something inside 50. Hardwick gets in front of Walter and spikes it over the boundary line for a ball in. 40 metres around from the Gold Coast goal. 16-16, 112 the Hawks. Gold Coast 9-9-63. It's been all brown and gold in this fourth and final term. After the Gold Coast threatened, got within 9 points after Hawthorn originally led by 46. First of 4 games today, of course. Collingwood Essendon coming up next. And then 2 more tonight. Port Adelaide Geelong, Freo Carlton out west from the stoppage. Ripped off it was Reid. I think he was held. He was absolutely held by Ned Reeves. I'm not sure what the complaint is there because Nathan Reid was slung to the ground without the footy. He'll receive the ball and have a shot for goal from about 48 metres out. Slide angle.
Tremendous upside, I reckon, Ethan Reid, Cal. He's just learning the craft at the moment. And I think he's going to be a good player.
He will. He just needs minutes and he needs experience. I think he's the kind of player that you just need to get 50 games into him. Just need him out there competing. And
kicked 4 goals against the Tigers back in round 2, so he knows where they are, but not on this occasion. It's this lose off the side of the boot. It's out of bounds on the full for no score. The 202-centimetre wingman, Ethan Reid.
The goal kicking is just contagious at the Gold Coast Suns at the moment. They just can't find the big sticks, no matter where. They're coming off the side of the boot. They're getting skied in the air. They just can't get decent connection off the boot, anyone.
Well, the Hawks are booted 4-7 to 3 behinds in this term. So they've been peppering away. Long kick by Amon. No mark to Kalsha Deer, who's leapt and competed hard, but really had an impact. Here's Rowell running onto it, ducked the head, got slung in the tackle. Here's Watson. Little handball away to D'Ambrosio. That little fake does it well. Ginnivan tried to get the handball back to Watson, but it was intercepted. Now Morrison, another handball. Ginnivan, handball straight to Mac Andrew, and Watson's got him. Can't take him to ground, stays in play. Ugly bit of play. Handball over the top by Humphrey to Weller. Throw that back in. That was not overly flash on that outer side. It'll be a boundary throw in. Minutes tick away. Almost 28 minutes gone in the final term. Reid works his way to the front in the ruck contest. Meek just leant on him up from the back, and now another free kick to Ethan Reid. So he's going to get another crack at it. It's a little bit further out this time, and on more of an angle. See what he's got. He's learnt from the first kick that he pushed way out to the right. Let's see if he can score. Right on 50. He'll kick the ball on the paint, pretty much, just outside the paint. Just stabs at it, and the mark easily taken by Jarman Impey, who just... Well, I don't know about you, Chris, but I just think he keeps getting better and better.
Does. No, he does. He's been absolutely... He's a bit similar to Jack Gunston.
There it is. Hawthorn continue their domination of the Gold Coast Suns here in Launceston with a thumping win to strengthen their premiership credentials. Jack Gunston kicked 5. And the Gold Coast Suns go home empty-handed. Hawthorn 16-16, 112. The Gold Coast 9-9-63. The Hawks 49-point winners here in Launceston. The Hawks make it 6 straight. They are premiership contenders, well and truly, the Hawks. They thumped Gold Coast to the tune of 49 points. And that's 9 in a row here in Launceston for Hawthorn over the Gold Coast Suns.
Still winless here, Gold Coast, against Hawthorn. So there have been a few sides that have had that displeasure.
And I reckon if you went back through the record books, you'd see the name Jay Gunston pop up a few times as well over the journey. And he kicked another 5 today. He led all comers with 5 goals for the Hawks this afternoon. Nick Watson kicked 2. Finn McGuinness kicked 2 upon being re-included into the team. Connor McDonald, Massimo D'Ambrosio, Mitch Lewis, Connor Nash, Jack Ginnivan, Jarman Impey and Tom Barras all had singles for the Hawks, while for the Gold Coast Suns, Ben King kicked 2, as did Bailey Humphrey. Ben Long, Lockie Weller also kicked 2. Jamari Ugle-Hagan in his comeback game kicked 1. And that was where it all ended for the Gold Coast Suns. A couple of the leading disposal winners for you. Kyle Amon had 31 across half-back for the Hawks. Jai Newcomb had 30. Josh Battle had 29. And Jarman Impey another 28 to go with his goal. While Noah Anderson, sans appendix, had 31. Christian Petrarca had 28 and John Noble had the 23 disposals. So Hawthorn, big winners here in Launceston. Their premiership credentials are strengthened once again. Cal Sinclair, how good is this Hawthorn team? What's the ceiling? And is the flag well and truly within the crosshairs for them now?
Well, they're certainly contenders for a top 4 team. And I was just thinking there, they've actually got really good selection pressure. They've got James Sicily and Dylan Moore, who are now out of the side with suspension. Finn McGuinness comes in, 24 touches and 2 goals. Like, you can't really ask much more for a guy that's on the fringe and sort of comes in. Harry Morrison's probably one. I thought he was, somewhat serviceable today. So they've actually got guys on their list that are unfortunately missing out. It's going to be a real challenge for Sam Mitchell and his coaching staff, particularly after today's performance, but they were absolutely terrific. I thought the Gold Coast Suns just disappointed themselves with the start of the game. They couldn't go clumsy. It just felt like they were very, very slow off the mark. Structurally, they were just squeezing the ground really hard and they were getting exposed out the back, but allowing Jack Gunston at his age to have 9 shots on goal, that's probably something they've got to look at defensively. At the start of the game, they had all 3 of their key defenders flying. They were just in all sorts. I thought for 20 minutes of that third quarter, I thought they were terrific, Gold Coast, and they were grinding their way back in. But the reality is they just couldn't get their game going. Their key players, don't get me wrong, Noah Anderson had 31 touches, Petrarca 28, John Noble had 23. But the stat sheet's completely dominant by the Hawthorn Football Club, and those 3 players, Anderson, Petrarca and Noble, they found some footy, but I don't know if their impact was overly massive. Be curious to know your guys' thoughts as well on that game and those players.
Well, I thought it was interesting that Gold Coast had 6 more inside 50s than Hawthorn this afternoon, yet could only manage the 9 goals compared to Hawthorn's 16-16. So they were able to make hay whenever they went forward.
In regard to that inside 50, I think if you look at that third quarter, particularly that first 20 minutes, it was how they got those inside 50s. So you might remember there was a patch where it was just going back and forth for about actually probably 10 or 12 minutes, and Hawthorn couldn't get their hands on it. They actually weren't going inside 50 with any method. They were just kicking and hoping at the time.
They had a wild card in inside 50 though, Gold Coast, in Jamari Ugle-Hagan. He hasn't played all year. So Ben King, does he become the focus? Is Ugle-Hagan demanding the ball? They've played 1 game, which is this one, together, and it's going to take a little while for it to work, isn't it? Ugle-Hagan to get his match fitness up and get really going. So they just look confused and flustered going inside 50, even though they pumped it in there. But it was Hawthorn's defence of Battle and Barras and Scrimshaw that Scrimshaw coming in for Sicily, who I thought he did a great job. He turns the ball over occasionally, Scrimshaw, but gee, he had a red-hot crack, and I think they just didn't handle that.
No, they didn't. And I think with Barras and Battle, like, you've got to make life difficult for them. If you start skying balls and giving them an opportunity to read it in the air, they're going, thanks for your time, guys, really appreciate it. But that's why I was quite critical of the Gold Coast Suns. They need to just tidy up their entries, look short, because the last thing guys like Barras and Battle don't like is actually being is playing on guys on the lead. But the Gold Coast forward line, you've got Walt from a key position perspective, you've got Walters, King, and Ugle-Hagan. three good names. I thought Waltz competed pretty hard today. He didn't probably get a lot of the footy, but he tried his guts out. But King, reliable in front of goal with a couple of goals, but, probably a tough day for him. And Ugle-Hagan, it was just an almost game for him. You can just see if he had, maybe 3 or 4 more games in him, there's a couple of marks he could have taken. He looked pretty good out in the lead at times, and he always has. But just looking at it would be a happy place to be at Hawthorn at the moment. The selection pressure they've got. Finn McGuinness, I'm really happy for him, to be honest, to come in and be under a little bit of pressure, but 24 touches and 2 goals. And I thought Jack Ginnivan worked really, really well into the game. He was outstanding with, his disposal and his efficiency. Didn't find a lot of the ball, but when he does, he makes his possessions count. But I thought this 2 ruck situation's really working for Hawthorn. I think going up against Jared Witts, I think he struggled today in the centre bounce against Meek and Reeves, and they just seem a lot more fresher in the legs, that when they're going into those centre bounces, they can actually run and actually really make an impact. So I think that's a really, really key for them. And if you can keep those 2 healthy, you probably don't want to be a ruckman playing Hawthorn, because you're in for a big day.
Which doesn't jump much, does he? So I guess Meek is not a huge jumper, but Reeves is already there, doesn't have to jump. He's 6'10" or whatever it is.
They had the option of Mac Andrew. They threw him in there, and he did a couple of okay things, but you can't put Mac Andrew in there for big minutes. And we had a guy, I made a couple of gags about Ned Moyle, but he is sitting there. So I just wonder, with the centre bounce and Reeves and Meeks sort of influenced by hand, did they get that decision right going this week? Not sure.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting watch as the season progresses for a lot of teams in terms of that ruck situation and the new rules and the running and the jumping players up against the traditional wrestlers, I suppose, like Jared Witts is. And just on that, Hawthorn won the hit-outs plus 10, so they were 42-32 in hit-outs, and that translated to a clearance win. They were plus 4 in clearances overall and plus 12 at the stoppage in clearances. They did lose the centre clearances 16-8, but around the ground 32-20 in favour of the Hawks. They had more contested possessions, 141-130, more uncontested possessions, 281-193, and more intercepts as well, 78-70. And then the only stats that the Gold Coast won, as mentioned, with the inside 50s, they were plus 6. They had more free kicks, 22-13, and they did win the centre clearance count 16-8. So Hawthorn largely on top in terms of the team stats, and as you mentioned, also the individual players as well. And it was those half backs in Amon, Battle, and Impey that had 31, 29, 28, and then Scrimshaw had 24 as well. In terms of the individuals. So if you're listening to us on Brisbane News Radio, or you're here in Tasmania listening to the coverage of this game, you'll now be off to the big Anzac Day clash between Collingwood and Essendon. It's going to be an absolute thumper at the MCG. So we've got a full team there for you. Corbin Middlemass leading up the coverage there. Ben Cameron, Mick Malthouse and Luke Ball. 100,000 expected in the house for the big Anzac Day clash at the MCG. If you're at Brisbane, listening via Brisbane News Radio or Tassie, that's where you're off to now. And Gold Coast, you'll stick around for another 10 minutes or so before heading to NRL Saturday, and we'll take you there at 3:30 AEST, and that'll be with Andrew Moore, Luke Lewis and Michael Karayanis there. Everybody else, you'll be off to the big one at the MCG, Anzac Day footy between Collingwood and Essendon. First ball up there in about 2 minutes time. What now for the Gold Coast? I suppose in terms of their credentials and their hot start to the season, they come into this clash 4-2, sitting 4th on the ladder, but they were comprehensively beaten. And they went in without a couple of defenders, Joel Jeffrey and Charlie Ballard, who were both omitted in place of Ugle-Hagan and Noah Anderson. So what now for the Suns going forward?
I think collectively the theme would be they got shown up with pressure. I made the point through the call that Hawthorn are a very great TV team, and they look immaculate with their ball use, particularly going inside 50. But when you actually watch them live, their pressure is absolutely elite. And a lot of that, I guess, call it really crafty nuance with the ball and decision making is built off a real hard edge. So I think that goes a little bit understated with Hawthorn. They're a hard, tough team. They've got big bodies in that midfield. Connor Nash. I thought Weddle today was absolutely outstanding. But the Gold Coast, you need to up your pressure. And I just think that just their disposal, I thought they were really, unlike them to be honest, because they've got a lot of guys in that team that are very, very good by hand and by foot. But the first half, they were really, really clumsy by hand. They were turning the ball over. There was a lot of missed handballs today. And I think their connection inside 50 probably needs to be tidied up a little bit. They've got the makings of a really, really good forward line. I've spoken about King, Walters, Nuga, Hagen today, but they just need to really tidy up the method about how they deliver it to those guys. I did feel sorry for Ben King at times, though he's pushed under the footy a little bit. But, guys like Took Miller, he skied the ball a few times. It only takes, ball use is contagious, right? You do a couple of nice spot-ups, it permeates throughout the team. But a lot of the times they were kicking inside 50 and it just felt like they were hoping.
So next up for the Suns, they've got GWS Giants back up on the Gold Coast. That'll be next Sunday night. So that shapes as an interesting affair.
They need to get going, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they need to get going for sure to the Giants. And their game against North Melbourne in Canberra tomorrow is going to be an interesting look as well to see just how far, I suppose, North Melbourne has come. And then for Hawthorn, they've got the short break, 5-day break before they play Collingwood at the MCG on Thursday night. So maybe that's part of the reason why they swung the 5 changes, tried to manage a couple in Sam Butler and Flynn Perez in order to get them up for the big game at the MCG on Thursday night.
Be a big game for Hawthorn. Like if they could pick that one off, that'd be Collingwood are more under the pump than what Hawthorn are. Collingwood will be hunting the Hawks and trying to find a way how to take them down, but 5-day break, a little bit of travel, they'll be up against it. But I think the point that I made before is they've got selection pressure. So Finn McGuinness and Morrison, they might hang in there, who knows, but Sicily's definitely coming back in. Moore's a star, he'll come back in. So they've got depth on their list at the moment, which is really positive.
We might go downstairs to Andrew Cooling, who's in the winning rooms with the Hawks.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I'm here with Blake Hardwick. Blake, 6 wins in a row, a bit of battle out there today, but you must be pleased with how things are going.
Yeah, definitely. 6 wins in a row is unbelievable. AFL footy's hard. After today, I'm buggered, and to get that amount of wins in a row, I don't think I would have done it too many times in my career, to be honest. So, it's a good start, but it's obviously a long year now, so it's only just the start for us.
A 46-point lead at one point. It got back to 9 points, and then you stormed over the top of them towards the end. What did you make of the game? It seemed to be one where teams would get on a run, and it was a bit streaky at times.
Yeah, that's kind of how AFL footy's going now. It's pretty open, high-paced kind of game, so there's a lot of momentum involved, and it's just how you can, on one end, capitalise on that when you got the run, and then on the other end, trying to stop them. They obviously kicked too many in a row, and we weren't happy at that at half-time, and to come out the way we did in the third quarter was pretty pleasing. I think they got it back to 9, but after that we got going again and obviously put them away in the last quarter.
Speaking of not happy at half-time, we've seen some vision of Sam Mitchell at half-time. Seemed he wasn't particularly happy. Was that one of the stronger bakes we've seen delivered from him in his time in charge?
He's not bad at a good bake. I think we saw it coming too, because we had a few moments late in that second quarter that wasn't up to standard, and I had a couple myself, and I was expecting it for a second, but he's good at a bake.
What were the keys to getting back on top of the game after they kind of closed back within a couple of kicks of you? How were you able to wrest back momentum?
It's just getting back to the basics, I think. Doing what we're good at, tightening up in the defence, and just being good at what we do, and that's with our running power. So just focusing on that, focusing on contest, and trying to swing the momentum back.
I'll throw upstairs, boys. Blake Hardwick, ready to take questions.
Blake, Cal Sinclair here. Terrific win. Thought you were absolutely outstanding today. One guy I want to chat to you about is Finn McGuinness. I think the signs of a good team is when you have selection pressure, and you guys seem a little bit healthy at the moment. You've obviously got Sicily out with suspension and Moore's not playing either. But Finn McGuinness comes in and has 24 disposals and kicks 2 goals. You can't ask for much more for guys that come in and top up the game.
Yeah, 100%. he's been dominating. I don't know if you've seen his stats in the VFL the last few weeks, but he's been dominating, having 30 and 3, and he's forced his way back in the team, and it's good to see him. I didn't know he had that many, but that's good to see him come up to AFL and perform against a quality side as well.
Blake, Chris Rowbottom here. I'm interested in I guess the midfield mix, and there was the pursuit of Zach Merritt last year, of course, but you rolled some numbers through there today. You had Jai Newcomb and Connor McDonald, and Nick Watson was in there. Josh Ward, Cam McKenzie, Connor Nash all got minutes. Do you feel that you've solved the riddle, I suppose, of the Hawthorn midfield, and you've accomplished what you needed to do by getting it done by committee?
We've definitely got a lot of numbers that can get through there now. As you've seen, Wizard's gone through there. He's grown in midfield time, along with C-Mac as well. So it's good to see those younger guys get an opportunity in there. And I don't think we've solved anything. We're still a work in progress, and we still need to improve sometimes inside, as all lines do. But it's good to see some reward for those boys like C-Mac and the Wiz, who have put a lot of work in the pre-season in midfield.
How conscious were you that Tom Barras hadn't kicked a goal since his 100th game back in 2022 as a backline group?
Yeah, I just asked him as we walked off. He just doubled his goal tally. But I was on the bench, so I didn't get around him. But as soon as all the boys got over there, I was pretty aware that it must have been his first.
And what does the next little bit look like for you guys? You've got the short break before you take on Collingwood on the Thursday night at the MCG. A light week on the track?
Yeah, definitely. Got the 5-day break. We've had some bit weird breaks so far this year, so but I don't mind the 5-day break. It's good to freshen up and just recover through the week, really, and back to a Thursday night against the Pies, which doesn't get much bigger than that, so I'm excited for it.
And you lost James Sicily from your back line, but Scrimshaw came in today and really attacked the footy hard and run and carried and all that sort of thing. It just didn't look like it was just seamless. That back family, if you like, are really working well together.
Yeah, for sure. I think Scrim's I think he's played 100 plus, so to have a guy like that come back in, he was obviously playing most of the season before a couple of weeks off, but to have a guy like that come back in is amazing. And he had a few huge contests that really swing the momentum, I thought, and he was massive.
What about yourself, mate? You've obviously cemented yourself as definitely a very, very good AFL player. Like, what are you specifically working on week to week on your game that's, that I think people can take away? Because I think you're probably one of the more underrated players in the competition.
I just focus on contests and then just trying to set the boys up around me. I'm trying to help others. I feel like I've played a fair bit of consistent footy now, and I'm at the stage where I can concentrate on helping other people around me and talking and using communication. So, they're my two focuses going into games usually.
I'm getting the wind-up signal here, boys, so I think that'll have to do. Thanks for your time, Blake. Much appreciated.
Blake Hardwick there, a member of that Hawthorn defence that were dominant against the Gold Coast Suns this afternoon and only conceded the 9 goals. And what a warrior Blake Hardwick's been for a long time now, and he is one of the more underrated defenders or players in the competition. ABC
can go forward.
He
did
go
forward and kick goals.
It was the experiment last year, wasn't there? And he was showing some real signs for a little bit, but he's been swung back to his natural home in defence. ABC Footballer of the Year votes, the 3-2-1. Cal Sinclair, you've got the honours. How did you see it?
Thank you very much for that. Yaman Impey, I thought, was terrific today. I think we made the point in the box that he just really set the game up for them with 28 disposals, 17 kicks, 11 handballs. Really feel like he's actually a little bit similar to Jack Guns. He's actually getting better with age. For me, didn't speak about him much on the call, but Jai Newcomb, 31 touches, 20 of those contested possessions. So I don't think we can neglect him and keep him out of the votes. But I don't think it's a surprise. I think when you have 9 shots on goal, kicking 5 goals for, I thought Jack Gunston was absolutely terrific today. He'd be filthy that he's kicked 4 behinds, but my 3 votes is Jack Gunston, 2 to Jai Newcomb and 1 to Impey.
Yeah, I like it. Jack Gunston, just incredible, isn't it? 73 goals last year. He was the BNF All-Australian, 34 years of age, and he's kicked 2 bags of 5 now in 2026, the first coming against Essendon back in round 1. And I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I reckon he likes it here in Launceston too. I reckon he's kicked a few bags here in Lonnie over the journey, has Jack Gunston. So 3 votes to the 34-year-old veteran Jack Gunston, 2 to Jai Newcomb, and 1 to Jarman Impey.
I think he likes the deep pockets.
Oh, he likes something.
I think he likes the ball movement of that midfield because it comes in low, it comes in hot.
Might just
comes
be
in quick.
A little too old for the Devils in 2028, unfortunately.
Oh, with how he's going.
Well, maybe he can go until he's 40 plus. Jack Gunston. Thank you, Cal. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Luke, on the buttons. And to Matthew Knights, who's had to dash to Hobart to catch the VFL game between the Devils and Carlton at Bellerive a little later. So he's halfway down the Midlands. Goodbye for now. For here in Launceston, where Hawthorn 49-point winners over the Gold Coast Suns. If you're on the Gold Coast, you're off to our NRL coverage. For everybody else, you're off to the big one at the MCG.